Go nuts on my nuts.
Get off our property.
You know I have a top secret clearance.
I don't give a Get the off the property.
Go back in the house, since we're acting like black people.
Are you a middle-aged white woman with an asymmetrical bob? Whatever the hell that is. Do you ask to speak to the manager when things don't immediately go your way? Are you as entitled as you are ignorant? If the answer is yes, you may be a Karen, unless of course you're a guy. In that case, you're probably just a dick. And no, I don't mean your name's Richard. Oh well, hello everyone, it's me, Creaky. So is your YouTube homepage filled with Karen videos? Well no, of course it's not. Yours is probably filled with my videos, because you've subscribed and turned on bell notifications so you never miss an upload. But mine is absolutely flooded with them, so let's take a look at some. Tidy!
We were raised around black people.
Well,
And most of them were very nice.
I got everything
You know
on
what?
camera, so you can leave, please. You can get off my property. My dog has never messed with your
You
dog.
were doing anything with me again, I'll call the police.
Call the police. Everything's on camera.
Now, I've got to be honest, I find this first clip a little bit confusing. It seems that this Karen is complaining because her neighbour lets his dog out onto his garden. But I don't want to jump the gun, so let's see where she takes it.
You're a black person in a white neighborhood, and you're acting like one.
Ah, so she's racist as well as being a Karen, or is racism a prerequisite?
It is recording right now.
We're not talking about anything except that I have a small little dog, and you have a pit bull.
And you're yelling with a taser. Why?
Because she's completely insane? I have no idea, but all I do know is that I wouldn't want to live next door to her. Or a poodle. Now, did this guy's pit bull attack her fluffy little doggy? Because it doesn't look like it from where I'm sitting, so what exactly is the taser for? Or should I say, who?
I brought it over here
For
because
why?
of the dog. The dog attacked my dog.
The dog's not even outside, ma'am.
He was outside. He was in front here.
He attacked her. Where's her dog?
He didn't attack the dog. I have it on camera.
You know what?
What?
You guys are acting like black people.
On camera.
You know what?
What?
You guys are acting like black people. And you should act like black people.
How exactly do you act a colour? And what does it mean anyway? But it's a neat trick either way. If anyone has any ideas on how I can act more Mediterranean, just let me know down in the comments. I've always wanted lovely olive skin.
Right? We're acting like black people, and that's not normal.
Most people don't act like you do.
How are we acting? How are we acting? You came over here with a taser.
I came over here because your pit bull attacked my little dog.
He didn't attack your dog. Not at all.
Your son was out here with it.
And he didn't attack the dog. The dog, I saw the dog. I saw you pet the dog. You
I
pet
didn't
the
pet
dog.
the dog. I just pet the dog because I wanted to see if he was okay.
You didn't pet the dog, but you pet the dog because you wanted to see if he was okay.
Why don't you record all this and put it on?
I am recording it. You about to be famous.
You know what? You're going to go?
You're about to be famous. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go?
You're going to go to hell.
Okay.
Because I'm going to sue the hell out of you, both of you.
All right.
All of you.
All right.
Get out.
Oh, she's a bit confused, isn't she? Sees a guy recording her and suggests that he records her. Says she didn't pat his dog apart from when she did pat his dog. And the most famous of Christian comebacks, you're going to hell because I'm going to sue you, which makes no sense. I always thought that happened in a court, not hell. And why the hell does this old lady have a taser anyway? Ah, right, yeah. America.
After I found the no trespassing order that I got from the school. You want to hear something? I'm suing the elementary school. I'm suing Roseau County School. I'm shutting that whole entire school. Amy McGuire, principal, Roseau Elementary School. Guess what, Amy? You're never going to be able to work in elementary ever again when I'm done with you. You want to say that you're a principal to kids? I just broke my bracelet. That's how fucking angry I am.
Oh no, she broke her bracelet. How will she ever go on? And who sues a school? I'm sure this sweet lady did absolutely nothing wrong.
You wanna lie, Miss McGuire? Do you wanna lie?
Ooh, sorry to interrupt you. You've just there on your chin.
Do you? Let's look at this no trespassing order. Why do we?
Or you can just leave it there. It's fine either way. Trespassing order. Oh dear, dear, dear. What have you been doing, Karen?
Not checking in an elementary office of noticing us of your visits in advance. That wasn't the agreement. Now was it? You
Oof.
psycho! psychopathic principal!
Nice. I bet your kids are really well-rounded individuals. And I mean, how dare a principal tell parents not to just turn up unannounced at a school, because there have never ever been any issues in American schools that would make a principal or the school system concerned about letting in unannounced visitors. Has there?
Was it the agreement? No, because I didn't make the agreement with you, you I didn't make the agreement with you when I called the school. When I got the okay, they told me all you have to do is come to the office and sign in. And guess what, you I signed in every time. You want to know why? Because I am not retarded enough not to. Because of Ren. You psycho!
Now, like most men, I've never really understood the female psyche. But even I can tell there's something wrong.
You! Those are my children!
Lucky kids. And I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely terrified. I think we'd best leave this Karen. She seems a little bit upset. And if you see this video, Karen...
Fuck around my car, I'm gonna ham you. I will ham you because you're not letting me out.
Is she saying she's gonna ham him? Ham him? What if he's a vegan? Or just doesn't like ham?
That's unsafe. So you're not letting me out. I feel unsafe. I will ram your car.
Sorry, my bad. She said ram. She's gonna ram his car.
So you can either, one, move the fuck out of the way, or I'm gonna feel unsafe and I'm gonna ram your car.
You know, this is just me, but whenever you're asking somebody to do something like move their car or step aside so that you can pass, I always find that get the F out of the way is always a sure way to get the best results. I mean, why wouldn't it be? After all, manners maketh the man and the woman, but clearly not the Karen.
I'm letting you know. Stop I feel do not. I feel do not.
Go back in your car.
Feel it. I don't. I don't
You can
feel
go around,
safe.
don't harass them. They're not
I don't feel safe to go around.
They're parked for a reason.
I'm letting
If I
you
get
know.
I'm calling the cops.
Have you been drinking?
Have you? Seems like a fair question to me, or are you just high? So she doesn't feel safe to go around the car in front of her, but threatening to ram that car is somehow okay and much safer?
Oh, fuck. Oh! Holy shit! Total hit and run! Hit and run! 6VVH469! She just smashed that car!
See, it wasn't clickbait, exactly like I said. Crazy Karen crashes car at McDonald's drive-thru.
So guys, I am here with my girlfriends. Look at this beautiful group of friends I have here, okay? Look at all these beautiful people here. And we are headed to get a cup of coffee because it's Thursday afternoon and this is what we do, right?
Well, to be fair, you can drink coffee any day of the week, but based on the fact that we're in a lockdown and none of you have masks on, I can already pretty much see where this video clip is going.
Yeah, just enjoying our free life and our liberty, still living in the United States, right? That's what we hope for. So, okay, can I give someone the phone, okay?
Just as I suspected, these women, what do you call a group of Karens anyway? You know, like a herd of elephants or a flock of birds? There must be a term for Karens. But either way, they are obviously there specifically to exercise their rights. But what about your responsibilities, ladies?
Well, we cannot wear it, you see. Yeah, and my religious beliefs do not allow also to wear the mask, so, and you cannot discriminate against our religious beliefs or health condition.
Agreed, discrimination is wrong. Nobody should be discriminated against for any reason at all. Now, what religion forbids the wearing of masks? Is it The Church of Maskology?
I'm glad you came to film us. I'm glad you came to show everyone that we do have a fast-paced mask mandate. I appreciate you guys' strength, but we do have rules and regulations at this point. Take your order right now. So if you're not going to wear masks, let me finish. Yeah, sure. So if you're not going to wear a mask, I will call the authorities to come remove you. If you'd like to order with us, we can take your order outside, and we'll bring it out for you.
No, this girl knows exactly what she's doing. Instead of attacking them and being confrontational and telling them, you can't be in here without masks, she's offering them an alternative so that she can cater to their needs. If you ladies would like to wait outside, we can take your order and bring your coffees out to you. How are they going to deal with this one? She's already offered them the solution.
Well, are you aware that you are discriminating against our people?
Ma'am, you can talk to Miss Coffee and tea about that.
Just as I expected, they go straight back to the discrimination card, banging on about their rights with no mention of their responsibilities. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, turn on bell notifications, and do all the stuff and things that just do it, please. Hello everyone, it's me, Editing Creaky. You can tell it's Editing Creaky because I've got headphones on. Now I'm adding this clip in after I finished the video because I thought it was important to point out that this was a very, very difficult video to make, and I dare say it's going to be quite difficult for some people to watch. Now I get asked frequently in my comment section and in direct messages, am I an atheist? So I thought in today's video I would attempt to answer this question through the medium of interpretive dance. Actually no, I've come across a video which is pretty disgusting, so I thought I would use this video to illustrate why I don't subscribe to any religion in particular.
Alright, this could be so much fun. Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot.
Now before anybody gets all bent out of shape, I know that not all religious people are homophobic pieces of crap, but this guy is.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. Now, I fully expect a little bit of backlash from this video, but I'm going to make it anyway, because I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. So before you judge me and fly down to the comment section to abuse me, watch the whole video and then form your opinion from there. I'm not saying that all religious people are like this, but this guy is one of the reasons why I have issues with religion. When I say this guy, it sounds like I'm blaming him in particular. I mean people like this guy. Because what I don't like about it, if you want to believe in something, that's absolutely fine. Believe in whatever you want. Just do not try to force your belief onto me or other people. And most certainly don't mock and judge people for what they believe in while you're trying to push your belief onto them. Unless, of course, we're talking about flat earthers, then please feel free to mock and push your beliefs onto them as much as you want to, because they are 100% wrong. So before we make a start on the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on bell notifications so that you know when I'm putting out these videos. But anyway, let's get on with it. Tidy!
Somebody sent me a clip from this phony Baptist preacher from West Coast Baptist College. You know, Paul Chappell's little queer factory. He already sent us Pastor Polka Dot to start his little queer-sounding music and skinny jeans church in Tempe.
So, this delightful human being is Stephen Lee Anderson. Pastor Stephen Lee Anderson, excuse me. Founder of the Faithful World Baptist Church. How bad could he be? The Faithful World Baptist Church is currently listed as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center because of Anderson's radical stance, including the belief that homosexuals should receive the death penalty. Ah. Pretty bad then.
He's got this guy, Dr. Shetler, I believe is his name, Jim Shetler. This guy is a grown man, and he's preaching to grown men.
But isn't that exactly what you do as well? Unless, of course, you only preach to children, which makes this a hell of a lot worse than I first thought.
And he's preaching false doctrine about repentance.
Now, if I've learned one thing by making videos about flat earthers, is that when somebody refers to false doctrine, all that means to them is that the other person is preaching or talking about something that disagrees with their narrative. Does that make it false?
This guy is a grown man speaking to grown men, and I kid you not, I'm not exaggerating at all, and you can listen to it for yourself. This is how he talks to grown men. He's like, all right, now, when we talk about God repenting, you know, we're going to have to learn a little bit of Hebrew, all right? This is exactly how the guy talks.
So, what you're saying then is if that I speak in a slightly effeminate way, instead of speaking like a real man, that it makes me gay?
Ha! Gay!
Interesting logic.
So what does it mean when it says God repents? Well, here's what the word means. It's really cool. The Hebrew word means, it has actually two meanings, and here's the first one. The first meaning is
Okay, so that was a little bit weird, but I definitely don't think that makes him gay. Maybe he's just a really big Star Wars fan.
We're going to have to learn a little bit of Hebrew, all right? All right, this is going to be so much fun. Yeah, we're going to learn a little Hebrew. Folks, there's a reason why queers are called gay. Because they act all happy, right? They're not happy. They're disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting is an interesting turn of phrase from somebody like you, Pastor. Now, I don't often like to read from the screen while I'm recording videos, but in this instance I'm going to, because I want to give you as much information about this maggot as I possibly can. So he believes in something called hard preaching, which is preaching outdated biblical verses which could be seen as offensive. And from everything I've read about him so far, yeah, offensive is a very accurate term. So he bullies people for the way they think and act. He makes false accusations about people. He uses childish terms like sissy to describe people and claims it as biblical language. He attacks other preachers that won't preach against homosexuality, abortion, or other religions. He attacks other people's religions. He attacks other Christians if they don't believe in the Bible exactly the way he does. He mocks anyone that disagrees with or questions him, and he claims that Hollywood actors like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio are all soft because some of them could be considered to look slightly effeminate, although I would call it good looking. And he this is absolutely disgusting. Basically, he hates all celebrities and mocks the ones that die, such as Prince, George Michael, Michael Jackson, etc. So yeah, he seems like an absolute delight. And you got anything a little bit more grown up to say? I guess not.
And he's just like explaining it. He sounds like a complete queer. Why does he sound like he's talking to toddlers? When he's a grown man talking to grown men, he sounds like a complete fruitcake, sugar britches. And you say, well, how dare you accuse him of being a queer? How dare he stand behind the sacred desk in a Baptist church attempting to preach God's word and sounding and acting like a complete queer?
Ooh, somebody's losing their rag, aren't they? You know, they say that people that talk about sex all the time are usually not getting any. Does that apply here?
That's what you ought to... Don't get mad at me for pointing out the elephant in the room. West Coast Baptist College is filled with queer little sissies. There, I said it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said there, I said it, because I'm sure that everybody watching this video now, out of all of them, not one single person would have noticed all the derogatory terms you've used so far.
Yeah, you get mad at me to say that? It's like, give me a break. Why don't you get mad at him for queerizing, sodomizing God's house with this junk?
Is queerizing a word? Not one I'm familiar with, but then I'm not a hateful piece of crap. But anyway, it absolutely baffles me that in the year 2020 there are still people like this that have got a platform to scream and shout at people from. Why? Why?
And by the way, here, I got a Hebrew word for you, Jim Shetler. Here, pull my finger, Jim Shetler.
When people say I present childish arguments in my video, I've not once asked any of you to pull my finger.
And then he just says, the Hebrew word here means to breathe, exhale deeply. So it has two meanings, either or. That's literally what he's teaching, folks. That's not etymology. That's not morphology. That's not a definition. And this guy doesn't understand the difference between the etymology of a word and what that word means.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Etymology isn't the word you would use to describe what another word means. It's actually a description of how a word has evolved and its meaning has changed throughout history. But you're just nitpicking, because I dare say, and without watching the whole of the other guy's video, I dare say he's just trying to illustrate a point. If the Hebrew word he's trying to convey means to exhale, he's just made a sound resembling him exhaling. So I really don't see what your issue is.
It is the word for a strong breath, and it can be translated either a moan and a groan, or it can be translated a sigh, and the context will determine which meaning of the word is being used.
See, so as I said, all he's trying to do is simplify his explanation and get across the point he's trying to make in the simplest of terms, which I'm a big fan of, because not everybody can understand everything in every detail.
Confused.
Folks, that's ridiculous. Folks, when we preach the Word of God, we just need to preach the Bible, what it actually says, and not twist it and say, well, actually, repent means something different if you go back to the Hebrew, but I don't even know what the Hebrew word is. I can't even tell you what the Hebrew word is. I can just make noises at you and talk to you like I'm teaching preschool, and this is supposedly an institution of higher learning?
Ah, right, okay, so if he is saying that he's trying to explain what the Hebrew word used to mean, and then what it's evolved into, that would be exactly what etymology is.
Oh, wow. You got a degree from West Coast Baptist College? You must be really learned.
And where exactly was it you attended college, Pastor? That's right, it was Sierra College in Germany where you studied language. But you didn't graduate, did you? So that puts you in no suitable position to criticize what anybody else may or may not be learning from anywhere.
You must be very skilled in Greek and Hebrew and theology with that kind of a professor teaching you.
And what exactly is it you were highly skilled at, Pastor Anderson? Because so far as I can tell, the only thing I can see that you seem to be any good at is being hateful and homophobic. So, by your logic, if this guy is gay, which his speech patterns are completely irrelevant, but if he is gay, does that mean he's any less capable of being an effective teacher? Because if that's how you think, then you're just lost.
And then he comes to West Coast and he keeps switching characters and he forgets which character he's in? All right, this is gonna be so much fun. You know, and then and then when we read the book of Jonah, and we see the word whale, we're going to learn a little Hebrew. The Hebrew word for whale actually means...
Now, I've always wanted the opportunity to say this in one of my videos, but I've never found anything appropriate. Is Pastor Anderson's argument a straw man one? Because... I think it is. Let me know down in the comments. Because he's not saying anything other than being hateful towards this other pastor who just happens to be gay. So what? Who cares? Apart from Pastor Anderson, he seems to care a lot. But the average everyday person, people like me, and I would hope people like you, really don't care if somebody's gay, straight, or anything else. I just don't understand why people like this still exist. I know it's a sad fact that they do, but...
How dare you preach, Pastor Anderson, without a Bible college degree?
Excuse me? You don't even have a Bible college degree? That explains a lot, actually, and that's probably why you had to found your own church. Because any other church probably didn't want to have anything to do with a hateful piece of crap like you.
Oh man, let me drop everything. Is there some distance learning? Can I please do some distance learning with West Coast Baptist College? Because I want to keep my distance from all the fairies and queers over there. But I want to get a degree so I can show it and hey everybody, look, I have credibility.
I really don't know what else to add. apart from these closing words to Pastor Stephen Lee Anderson. In today's video, the spiritual showman Matty B is going to give us 7 reasons why he thinks the earth is flat.
Go nuts on my nuts.
So to start off at number 1, the first reason why I believe the earth is flat is because, well, I believe we have a firmament that encapsulates us.
But we don't though, do we?
Now, the reason why I believe this is a couple reasons. Number 1, we have the religious texts, not of just Christianity, but all religious texts depicted of all cultures are all saying the same thing.
Okay, so all religious texts are all saying exactly the same thing. And the one thing that they all have in common is that they are all not scientific textbooks. They're storybooks, and as such, they're open to misinterpretation.
And I think we should just take the hint.
Well, no, because it isn't a hint. They really aren't scientific textbooks. They're all religious storybooks and should be treated as such.
They depict that the earth is a flat plane, a stationary plane, okay, with a dome over it. That's what they all have in common.
Yeah, and I know something else that they all have in common as well. They are not science textbooks. God, I hate repeating myself. Did I mention I've got new glasses?
Now, that's not the only thing that can persuade someone to believe a certain thing, right? Because the Bibles and stuff, all that is manipulated. It's half-truths.
Well, if you know it's manipulated and only half-truths, how can you possibly claim that it supports a flat earth?
On purpose, right? To really have us buy into it, but low-key, they're smarter than us, and not that they're smarter than us, but they have a head start on us where they're able to make it so sure it seems truthful, but it's actually really keeping you disempowered.
Ah, so it's half-truthful on purpose, and the people that wrote it, they are smarter, or they're not smarter. Wait, so the Bible doesn't say the earth is flat? Or it does say the earth is flat? I'm so confused.
And a perfect example of that related to the Bible, I don't want to spend too much time on this, is the whole savior complex with Christians. You know, they think, you know, Jesus is going to return and he's going to save the day, and there's going to be just a great awakening that is just going to completely just save us all, right, from the evil people. And that's just a trap, right? And people put that same savior complex into relationships, into governmental figures, instead of going inside to yourself and finding your own sovereignty from within, which is what I think God, Jesus, really wanted us to take home.
Yeah, thanks for that, but can we at least try and keep on topic? Unless, of course, I'm not following because you're just smarter, but not smarter than me.
Now, the second thing as to why the firmament is true is, well, there's a thing called Operation Fishbowl.
This is gonna be good. So Operation Fishbowl was a series of high-altitude nuclear tests carried out by the US. And I'm not really sure how that helps prove a firmament, so carry on.
And I don't recommend looking this up on Google because really all the Google tabs that they're gonna show you are censored. They're only gonna show you what they want to see. So it's very tough to find this information in this day and age. They've tightened up a lot on the internet with what they show and what they don't allow. So keep that in mind. But Operation Fishbowl is something that I've seen with my own 2 eyes of videos of documented proof of them shooting missiles at the fishbowl, at the dome, trying to break through it. This happened back in the 1960s, I think it was.
Hang on a second, how bloody old are you? You saw it with your own eyes? In the 1960s? Very interesting, because Matty B seems to have found the fountain of youth. Unless, of course, when he says he saw it with his own eyes, he means that he used his own eyes to watch YouTube videos from other conspiracy theorists. And I would imagine he tells you to be cautious when Googling Operation Fishbowl is because him and other conspiracy theorists don't actually want you to find the real information, which was that it was just to test how much damage was done by these nuclear devices and what the effects of high-yield explosions would be against ballistic missile RVs.
Another reason is a rainbow test, okay? And we're still in the firmament here. There's multiple layers here on why I believe in the firmament. Now, this is a rainbow test. You can do this with a third grader or fifth grader or whatever. All you need to do is just spray a water hose outside, right? And you can see the rainbow. When the sun is out and you have the water and you have the light, you can get a rainbow. And you can try this for yourself. Now try and do that same thing inside your house. You can't. Why? That's because it takes 3 key ingredients to make a rainbow. The first is water, the second is light, the third is a reflection. Okay? So what is reflecting when we're outside? What could possibly be reflecting? The dome.
Rainbow tests, eh? Now we've talked about the rainbows and the domes in the video I made about my pal Barney, so look it up on my channel if you want to see it. And I seriously doubt that even a third grader would be dumb enough to believe that rainbows are caused by a reflection off a dome. And why can't you do this experiment inside your house? I don't know, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that rainbows are actually caused by sun's rays reflecting water droplet and atmospheric conditions. Now I know that some flat earthers believe that the sun is local, but I don't think any of them believe that it's so local you can take it indoors with you.
The same can be said for nuclear bombs as well. It takes the same shape, the rainbow takes the same shape, they'd all take the same shape. And Hillary Clinton was also quoted even saying, like, something like, "We will soon break through the barrier." Barrier of what?
Really? Hillary Clinton? She was talking about the glass ceiling as a metaphor, the unacknowledged barrier to her political career. And in the context she was using, it was in response to her losing the Democratic primaries in 2008.
Moving on to reason number 2. The North Pole and Antarctica. Why is it that there's never been a commercial flight to fly over the North Pole? Why is it that there's a treaty signed by all the countries in the world that Antarctica exploration is off limits?
So the flights, or lack of flights, is a very complicated answer which I may go into in a separate video. Let me know if you want to see that down in the comments. But in its simplest terms, we just don't need to fly over Antarctica or the North Pole. And even though in some cases it may appear when you look at it on a map to make that particular route a lot quicker, in reality it wouldn't. Well, it would and it wouldn't. I'll explain what I mean. It would make flights much more expensive due to the modifications that they would need to do to the aeroplanes to make them capable of flying in such cold weather conditions. And for commercial airlines, it's just not financially viable. So it's cheaper in the long run for them to just avoid flying over Antarctica and the North Pole. And the Antarctic Treaty again. All the Antarctic Treaty did was make the Antarctic into a scientific preserve. No conspiracy involved.
Unless it's like specific scientists that have to sign contracts and have to do certain things. What are they hiding?
Snow?
Why can't we go to the edge of our Earth, which is actually how it's depicted?
Excellent question. Why can't we go to the edge? I mean, apart from the obvious, which is that there is no edge, because the Earth is a sphere, and spheres don't have edges.
Antarctica is the round on the sides, and it's much higher than any mountain or anything. We're like sunken in, actually. We're sunken in, and then the Antarctica are like the walls outside of this Earth, right? And I just find it so interesting that we can't go out there and we don't fly over the North Pole. And if you look at the flight patterns on a globe just do not make sense. They're inefficient. They're just not effective, right? The flight patterns that they take, the routes that they take to Bali, Australia, all these things is just not efficient. But on a flat Earth, it makes sense.
Does it though? Because as far as I can tell, nothing makes sense on a flat Earth. Mainly because there is no flat Earth, but what? There is no but. The Earth isn't flat.
Now, another thing too is Hitler's obsession. Okay, Hitler was once one of the biggest world powers, and he wasn't obsessed with space. He didn't give a shit about space. What was he obsessed with?
No comment. Can anyone else smell gas?
What are they hiding? Why can't we fly over the North Pole? Why can't we go to the North Pole? How come when you look on Google Photos, you have the same thing depicted at the North Pole every single time? It's all just a big cover-up, in my opinion.
I know why you can't. Just think about it. It's so obvious. Santa Claus. No, seriously, think about it. Just think about how busy Santa is. And he's a very private guy. He doesn't want any Tom, Dick or Harry knowing where he's from, where he lives. He doesn't want tourists traipsing all over the North Pole when he's busy trying to make toys. What do you mean it's a really stupid thing to believe? Is it any stupider than somebody believing that the Earth is flat?
The most obvious one I think is, have you ever seen a curvature? On a plane, have you ever seen the curvature? I haven't, and I've gone on a lot of flights. You can even look at I've seen demonstrations of a red laser that is straight, goes across. I've seen it go across, like there's been you can look at some on YouTube of people documenting, real life people documenting this. Or you can just do it yourself, of a red laser that goes out over 100 miles, 200 miles.
Oh, but I've only got a green laser. Would that work as well? And to answer your question, have you seen curve? Everybody has seen curve. Every time a ship disappears over the horizon bottom first. Curve. Every time the sun rises. Curve. Every time you see a lunar eclipse. Curve. These things are all only possible because we live on a sphere.
Now, the fourth reason why is the sun and the moon, okay? And also the stars, right? Okay, so if we're accepting the globe, we're accepting the heliocentric model, which means we're rotating at some unbelievable pace and we're just flying through space at just insurmountable, I can't remember how many miles per hour we're traveling, but if this is the case, why is it that you can take the sun or the moon any day of the year, calculate it any year you want, it's always the exact same. The patterns are the same, the star constellations are the same. What are they all traveling and rotating with us at the same time too?
Yes. You do realize that you're slowly debunking yourself, don't you? And ask yourself this question. How is it that we are so accurately able to predict things that are going to happen? Is it maybe because we're able to use the very accurate data that we get from understanding the true shape of the Earth and the rate at which it rotates?
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. Basically, everything you just said, we know because mankind has been able to establish through scientific research and observation that the Earth is a sphere. And in the case of us globetards, we don't need to fudge the data to make it match our narrative, because it isn't really a narrative, it's just reality.
And also, how come in the daytime I can see the moon?
Because we live on a globe! How many times have I got to say it? The moon rises in the east and sets in the west. And because the Earth rotates, not spins, from west to east, if you look at the moon every night for a few consecutive nights, you'll notice that it becomes slightly more easterly as it gets closer to being a full moon.
But in Australia, where they should be seeing the moon, they can see it too. Because if you look at a globe, right, Australia is like here and the United States is like here, so if I'm able to see the moon, how is Australia able to see the moon too? Does not make sense on the globe.
Right, no, he wasn't completely clear there, but if he means at the same time, then it depends on a couple of factors. For example, if somebody lives on the east coast of Australia, then they can see the moon at the same time as somebody living on the west coast of the United States of America. But it will be very, very low on the horizon. But the more interesting question would be, and the one that I have yet to see a flat earther answer, is how is it that people who live south of the equator see a moon which is upside down when compared to the moon that is seen by people who live north of the equator? How exactly would that work on a flat earth?
Another thing too about the sun and the moon is, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Alaska, but I have, and at a certain part of the year, the sun never actually sets, or maybe it sets for like an hour or something, or half an hour or something. Why is that?
I haven't got a clue, so I'm going to have to guess. It's because we live on a globe! I like this guy, he's actually really helpful. I'm having to do very little debunking, he's doing it all for me.
The fifth reason, all right, we're on reason number 5, is that we're told by NASA that we no longer have the technology to go to the moon, but we just went to Mars?
Oh dear, not this again. I don't understand what any of this has to do with the shape of the Earth. Whether we have or haven't been to the moon, whether we have or haven't just landed a rover on Mars, seems to me to be completely irrelevant to the shape of the Earth. But in the name of fair play, I will let him have his say.
And then also, if we have been to the moon, how come we didn't have travel to the moon? Why would we not do that?
I don't know, for the same reason people don't go on holiday to the middle of the Sahara Desert. There's nothing there. What would you be going for? Apart from the experience, obviously, which would be absolutely amazing. But as far as it being of interest to space tourists, there's not much there to pique your interest.
Now, another one, number 6, is that there's never been an organic photo taken of Earth.
Apart from this one, which was taken by Apollo 17 in 1972, using a plain old ordinary 35mm camera with specially adapted Kodak film, yes. But it's just a photograph taken of Earth from a very long way away.
Any photo that's been taken of Earth, literally, it's like a legal thing. Like, you can look into this yourself. It's an estimation of the satellites. That's what they tell you. Oh, we do editing and color schemes, and it's an estimation of the satellites. This gives them the okay to do whatever they want, make whatever they want. And I've seen even video footage of computer nerds at NASA literally editing and creating things in space how they imagined it would be.
Now, as far as I can tell, the denial of the images of Earth taken from space is all based around a flat earther's fear of being proven wrong. Because obviously, if they were to say, oh yeah, we accept that that's a real photograph of Earth, then obviously they can't claim that the Earth is flat because the photo proves otherwise.
Now, the 7th reason, and the last reason why I don't believe in Earth, and there's probably many more, but these are just 7 today, is to just, you can look up on YouTube, look up weather balloon flight to stratosphere. Now, you can watch this video for yourself. Again, it's so high in the sky, and there's not a single curvature at all.
That's a really stupid thing to say, because you can look everything you can possibly think of up on YouTube. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that what you find will be true or accurate. And also, if there's no curve, why is it called the stratosphere? Why isn't it called the stratos flat or the stratos level?
And why is NASA the biggest purchaser of helium and we have weather balloons? Makes me think that satellites aren't actually orbiting in space, but actually we're keeping them up with weather balloons because they are the biggest purchasers of helium. And I forget how many millions, it's in the $50 or $100 million a year that they spend on helium, or every 5 years, some contract they signed. I don't have all the facts. I don't have all the answers. I'm not pretending to have all the answers. I'm not pretending to say the Earth is 100% flat and there's no other question about it. Although I'm at 99.9%, it just comes down to questioning for yourself, figuring out your own truth.
Hang on a second, Mr. Own truth. That's just every flat earther's get out of jail free card. If I say it's my truth, then who are you to say that I'm wrong? Because it's my truth. It's what I believe within myself. The fact that there's no evidence supporting it is completely irrelevant because it's my truth.
I've spent hundreds of hours, maybe not hundreds of hours on flat earth specifically, but in terms of searching for truth and finding out things, just the uncovering of everything and the synchronicities that I've found, and just them contradicting themselves time and time again and lying and lying and lying. I just don't trust them. Simple as that. And I think that's a big fundamental agreement or disagreement that I think a lot of people do have, is a lot of people do, like, they think the good of people. They think the good of our government, and they think that they really are trying to, they don't want to kill us. And I'm not saying they want to kill us. They just want to slowly kill us and deceive us so we can be controlled and disempowered.
Boom, there you go. The key to every conspiracy theorist. An inbuilt mistrust of anybody in a position of power or authority. And that's fine, because I happen to think myself that the world's governments do a lot of shady things that we will never get to find out about. But none of the things that they may or may not be doing would ever lead me to think that the Earth was flat.
And so that brings me to, why would they lie? Why would they lie about this whole thing, right?
Ooh, look out, he's got notes.
So the reason why they're lying is, for starters, they just simply want you to just not trust your own senses. You know, like, yeah, you know, like, I don't feel the earth spinning and I don't see a curvature, but yeah, we're definitely spinning at thousands of miles an hour and we definitely have a curvature, even though I sent out a red laser out 200 miles and it didn't have any curvature over a solid layer body of water. Like, do you see the contradictions in ourselves? But from the womb, you know, our parents, they were taught that the globe was round and all this stuff. So the programming is deep.
If there was programming, which I don't think there is, I can be pretty confident in saying it would be nowhere near as deep as the rabbit hole you would have need to have fallen down to believe what you believe. Now look, I've got no ill will towards Matty B. He does genuinely seem like a nice enough guy, but unfortunately for him and those around him, he does seem to have fallen down the flat earth rabbit hole. Is he different to any other flat earther? Absolutely not. They're all exactly the same. Wrong.
Boom. Roasted.
Today on Playing a Blinder.
I made this video and some people were not happy. Oh no. What was that video about? Well, it was about First Amendment auditors exercising their rights to film in a public place and their rights to free speech. Now, it wasn't really the video that was the issue, it was more about the comment section, and the overwhelming theme in that comment section was that I had absolutely no right to say what I was saying from people who advocate for free speech. So yeah, I'll just let that sink in for you.
Just unsubscribed. Didn't think you supported tyrannical behaviour from government officials. Creaky, due respect, you do not know American law. He does not have to identify himself, and refusing to do so does not constitute a crime. And Creaky, I would honestly tell you, you're gonna lose a lot of subscribers keeping this video up.
Now, is it because I'm not an American? Because if it is, then that's discrimination. You know, the unjust prejudicial treatment of different categories of people, especially on the grounds of race, age, sex, or disability. And it would seem not being American in this case. Or do I only have freedom of speech until I say something that you don't like? Then it's...
Shut up, Creaky.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hi, it's me, Creaky. What do you get when you cross a keyboard lawyer with a First Amendment auditor / sovereign citizen? Will you get a super Karen? Or in the case of today's video, you get a pair of super Karens from the YouTube channel Freedom Lovers TV. So let's talk about it. Tidy!
Do you know what the penal code is for trespassing? Do you know what it is? What is it? 602. Okay, can you show me anywhere in the trespassing penal code of 602 how it is that my friends violated that yesterday?
I don't know what friend you're talking about.
Well, I had two friends. One was actually arrested.
Yes.
Can you show us in here what he violated in the penal code 602?
I didn't arrest
that
him.
would cause you. Okay, well, you're the
He was
supervisor.
there.
Doesn't matter. And I don't know this for sure, but based on your own attitude and what I've seen on your channel so far, he or she was probably being a confrontational swipe. And if your complaint is a valid one, which I doubt, wouldn't guilt or innocence need to be proven in a court? And then, if your friend was wrongly arrested, they can seek recompense after proving that in a court of law.
You can show us.
He didn't arrest him.
But you were there.
Okay, well, are you...
Do you have anything else that you need from us?
We want to press charges.
Are you...
If it's the federal law that you're trying to press charges on, are you talking, what do you want to press charges on?
Press charges for what crime? There has to be a crime, right?
On the officer and on the post office.
The
That
post
is not a
office.
private
The
property.
post office is the federal government. We don't do federal government laws.
Then why did you come to arrest our friend yesterday?
Your friend.
What was it?
Just,
You can finish. Sorry.
I'm not trying to be rude. If you guys want to be rude, you guys can be rude. But I, as a public citizen, don't have to listen to you guys being disrespectful or rude.
Oh, absolutely you do. You're
No,
public
I don't.
servants. You work for us.
Public servants doesn't give you the authority to scream and yell at us.
Now, apologies for the sound. These Karens obviously have never heard of microphones or editing their footage to make it more audibly pleasing. So being a public servant means that they just have to stand there and take your crap? What about the fact that they're also just people doing a job that they're paid to do?
So, we're not
so
yelling.
what I'm trying to tell you is, from my understanding, just so you know that I wasn't there, I was told he left the building. He was told by the officer to leave the building as a representative of the post office. He came back in and then refused to leave. For trespassing. That's it.
Now, in many of these types of videos, I've seen the auditors banging on about poster 7, so I've taken a look at it, and when it comes to photography, in my opinion, it really is open to interpretation. Photographs for news purposes may be taken in entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, or auditoriums when used for public meetings, except where prohibited by official signs or security force personnel or other authorized personnel, i.e. the police officers. So the way that I'm reading it is that if you're told not to do it, then you shouldn't. But obviously, me being not American, I must be wrong and shut up immediately.
Okay, so can you explain why it is that you were willing to arrest him, but now you're claiming that you don't have jurisdiction over a federal building?
No, we don't have jurisdiction for what the federal code is. If you have a complaint against the post office, I can't do anything about that. You have to take it up with the federal government.
He just told you he wasn't there. So no, he probably can't explain, can he? And whether this officer who wasn't there has jurisdiction or not is irrelevant. It sounds as if the post office employees called the cops. So again, they were there responding to a complaint, and as law enforcement officers, they're duty-bound to investigate.
Okay, so in other words, you can arrest private citizens on federal land.
If they've been asked to leave, if you can read the thing.
Okay.
Do you know what the guidelines are for the post office? You might want to look those up.
Okay, but I just want to be clear. You work for me. You need to hold on to.
Funny, she doesn't look like the chief of police. How the hell does this cop work for you? Oh yeah, that's right, you pay his salary, don't you? All by yourself. Or maybe with the help of the other idiot Karens and First Amendment auditors that go out with the sole intention of disrupting the police and other people's days, just because they can. It's a pity you weren't as keen to ask yourselves whether or not you should.
Okay, then I think you should probably take these with you.
But like I said, if you would like,
it doesn't
you
matter
can
if
look
you
on the
take them
post
or
office.
not.
If you look on the post office,
this is Title 42. It gives us the ability to sue you guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right?
You have
No, I think that you really need to know about this because we're angry and we're going to do this.
The guidelines
this is
for the
Title
post office. They tell you what you guys
which is
can
a
and can't do.
deprivation of rights under
There's
color
actually
of
a
law.
page that says what you're allowed to do. So you might want to look for those.
Did you know?
He's talking about poster 7. Even a non-American like me can look that up, as I showed earlier.
Notice that when you walk into the post office, it says everywhere recommended. It doesn't say it's the law.
No, there's actual guidelines with the post office. It's actually article number 7. You might want to look it up.
Can you show us in here how it is that he violated that?
They can't
he
show
got
us
arrested
the
for trespassing.
So you were
He was asked to leave
This
and
is
he refused to leave and he was
the penal
arrested.
code for trespassing.
I know, I just told you that.
Can you explain?
You
arrested him, so...
I did not arrest him.
But
stop making accusations that I arrested somebody.
You are responsible for your subordinates,
we're here.
correct?
I'm trying to ask you your questions.
Okay, so can you
if you have those complaints,
show us
you can take it up with
It's not a complaint.
Right, now, in my opinion, which I know makes absolutely no difference because, well, I'm just not American enough, the police officer is allowing himself to be drawn into an argument with this lovely lady, and I personally think that when you allow things to escalate like that, you're onto a loser because it prevents you from thinking logically and it has the tendency to make you say the wrong thing. And I know the police are human as well, but I really think this officer is making a mistake by allowing this horrible woman, this Karen, to fire him up, and he's essentially playing right into her hands.
What is your... Well, I'm not arresting.
Pressing charges.
Can you show us where in the penal code...
So are you telling me that
I'm not going to affect your citizen's arrest, no.
Okay,
so you're refusing to do your job.
So can you...
I'm not refusing to do my job.
Can you show us where it is in the penal code that he trespassed?
He was asked to leave the property. He refused to leave.
Can you show it to me?
You have the section. You can read it.
Read it yourself. You're the keyboard lawyer. This guy is just a lowly civil servant.
We read it. We don't see anything there.
You're the one who violated our rights.
Again, did I violate anyone's rights?
Your officer
Are you the supervisor? Yes. You are responsible for all the actions of your subordinates while they are working here.
Right, let's use Karen's own logic on her. Judging by the fact that the dark-haired lady seems to be taking all her cues from the super Karen, I think we can safely assume that she is the boss Karen, making the other lady her subordinate, yeah? So, if the dark-haired lady goes out tonight and burgles a house, is it right that the super Karen gets blamed for allowing her to do it? Even though she may not have known that she was gonna do it or even have been there. She had no prior knowledge that she was going out burgling that night. And if it turns out that you're right and this officer is wrong, then yes, as his superior, he would need to act accordingly to put things right. But certainly shouldn't be held accountable for someone else's actions. You keep asking him things you know he's already told you multiple times he can't answer because he wasn't there.
That's right, and he went into a federal building out of his jurisdiction.
No, it's not out of his
And
jurisdiction.
you said you were going to report the files.
So you think that if somebody working in the post office calls the cops because they need police assistance, that when the police get there they can't act because it's not within their jurisdiction? Just how much of an idiot are you? No, actually, don't answer that. I don't want to sway anyone else's opinion. I think the people that watch my channel are smart enough to be able to pick out an idiot for themselves.
Okay, so if you guys have any other questions, otherwise
Yes,
we're
he does.
done here.
Yes, I do
Okay,
have a
what's
question.
your next question? And
The
I'm not
question
going to read
is-
anything from 602. So if you have any other questions,
Can you please
can ask.
explain to us where in the Penal Code 602?
No, I'm not. You have the penal code section there. You can read it yourself.
Because there's nothing in here
I
that
didn't
would
say there's
allow
nothing in
you to unlawfully imprison my friend.
In your opinion, which doesn't make it right, and I know what you're gonna say, but Creaky, you're giving your opinion. Well, yes. Yes, I am. But unlike this Karen, I thought long and hard about whether I should. I knew I could, but me not being a complete douchebag, I took some time to think about whether or not I should.
Well, you can take it up with
You
whatever
are,
means you guys
you
need
have
to, okay?
violated our rights.
So you're not going to...
I haven't violated your rights.
How has he? I don't understand, unless of course it's your right to act like an entitled, self-important know-it-all.
You're trying to affect the citizen's arrest. You can read the penal code section for that. I'm not affecting any citizen's arrest. We're not authorizing your citizen's arrest. If you would like to do whatever else you want to do when you say you're going to sue, you have every right to do that. Feel free to do that. If you have anything else for us, I can
You
help you out
guys
with.
are
If you
not
don't,
going to
then we
take
have
that
stuff to do.
seriously until we drop Title 42 federal lawsuits on your...
So, Title 42, Section 1983 provides an individual with the right to sue state government employees for civil rights violations. So, you want to sue this police officer on your arrested friend's behalf for violating his right to break the law by trespassing. Because when he refused to leave the post office, in my opinion, as a non-American of course, that's what he was doing. Trespassing.
desk.
Okay.
And then you're going to be very upset and freaking out about it, and we're trying to stop that. Because
We
we're
don't want to come
studying.
after you personally, but we will.
Okay, well, you guys have every right to, so you need to do what you need to do. And
Did you guys take an oath to the Constitution?
Are we
Did
done?
you?
Have a nice
No,
day.
no. Did you take an oath to the Constitution? Aren't you supposed to be protecting us, our rights, against tyrants?
And that's how you beat a Karen. Just walk away. Trust me, I've been married 28 years and the one thing I've learned for sure is that the best way to diffuse an argument while simultaneously upsetting your wife, or in this case the Karen, is to just walk away and leave them to it. Who are they going to argue with then?
See, ma'am, right now you're yelling at me and I told
Foreign
you that
and domestic, I don't care. A belligerent woman still has her rights.
Which I told you guys can do.
You're not going to help
We
us
have
with
an
any
arrest.
other
We have an
reports.
arrest report.
You guys have become the
You guys have
criminals.
anything else
Is
you
this
need,
what you wanted when you took an
I'm not here
oath?
to argue with you.
Yes, you are. You're supposed to indulge me. You work for me. We're your masters.
Did she actually just say that she is their master, making the police officers her servants? Well, yes, they're public servants, but in my opinion, choosing a life of servitude does not imply ownership by the people who don't choose that career path. I'm absolutely lost for words. No, I'm not actually lost for words, I can't lie to you, I'm never lost for words. But come on, saying you're someone's master is at the very least highly inappropriate under any circumstances.
We are your masters.
You're
You're
the
not
criminal.
dismissed.
You are the criminals, and you're not dismissed, Evans.
And if all else fails, you can always start acting like a naughty child.
You deserve everything that's coming to you.
And of course, what Karen video would be complete without a threat thrown in for good measure? Yeah, laugh it up, Karen. Let's see how funny you think a criminal record is. Now, I know that we all, and I do mean all, even people that aren't from the USA, have the right to go about our day as we choose, say whatever we want, whenever we want. But remember this, Karens of the world and First Amendment auditors and all other douchebags. Free speech isn't always free of consequences. Just ask your friend, you know, the one that's in jail because he got arrested yesterday for trying to prove a really stupid point. And while we're talking about points, what exactly is the point of this video? Well, I did seriously give this a lot of thought before making the video. I made the First Amendment auditor video, and based off the reaction it got, I decided that I wasn't going to make any more. But that didn't last very long, because it occurred to me, the very same people who were fighting for freedom of speech were the ones telling me to shut up. Now, I seriously doubt that any of those people will have got this far into the video anyway, but if you have, just bear that in mind before you hop down to the comment section now and slate me for saying what I choose to say about this topic. I'm not dismissing the fact that some American police really need to be taken to task over their behaviour. I know they do, but there have got to be better ways of doing it, because from my viewpoint, First Amendment auditors seem similar in the way that they behave and deal with the police to vigilantes that go out trying to fight crime for themselves.
What I'm about to show you guys is a time machine from the future.
Government officials insist that this is an isolated incident.
It's me, future Creaky. I ain't got a lot of time, I can hear the helicopters circling. Welcome to Creaky Weekly. Today we're going to talk about time travel. Sorry, I gotta go. Oh, and by the way, in the future we all wear our glasses upside down. That's how you know we're from the future.
Okay. Now, I'm fairly sure I've said in previous episodes of Creaky Weekly that this has got to be the craziest thing I've come across on YouTube. But it would seem I was wrong. I've come across a channel called Apex TV where they interview Noah, Future Boy. So let's have a look.
My name is Noah, and I am here to tell you guys about the future. Today, I am going to show you guys my final thing from the future. A time machine from the year 2030.
Wait, what? 2030? That's only 11 years away. This is gonna be epic.
But first, let me tell you guys a little about the future, because there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the future. We are going to have aliens show up in the year 2028. Yes, you heard me. Aliens in the year 2028.
Aliens in the year 2028, and you'll have to excuse the change of backdrop. I'm at home now, but there. Notice the way he's clasping his hands together? In body language terms, that's a sign that he's anxious and deliberately being dishonest. He's holding his hands and grasping them because he's nervous that people are going to see through his lie.
As well as time travel is released to the public in the year 2028. It's two giant events that happen in the future of history. And I just want to tell you guys about this so you guys know what to expect from the future. AI will be huge in the future, artificial intelligence.
Right, let's be honest, you haven't got to be a time traveller to work out that AI is going to be huge in the future, because it's already getting there now, and Elon Musk has said it amongst other people, so sorry, not buying it.
And there's also VR, as means virtual reality, where we put on something and we are able to be in it, like absorbed into a different world.
But you can buy those now. These are them. That's not the future, that's now. And I'm glad you cleared up that VR stands for virtual reality though. Whew.
Most of the people in the future have a chip. It's always in their right wrist, unless they are a government official. Then it's in their left wrist. Since I am a time traveler and I worked under the government, mine is obviously in my left wrist. My chip allows me to do way much more than other people, like being able to time travel. While someone else's lets them, buy stuff. It gives them doctors a full diagnostic report and everything when they go into the hospital, and it has all the information on it as well.
Has anyone else seen iRobot?
Now we'll show you guys library pages from the future that detail future events. They are a little crumpled up, but I think you guys might be able to see them well.
Library pages from the future. Interestingly enough, handwritten on crumpled up pieces of paper. Now, the future is... Right, allow me to rephrase. Wouldn't libraries of the future just be digitally downloaded files? Or if they wanted to be very posh, maybe they would distribute tablets, but probably not, because it would be expensive. It would just be digital downloads, and it certainly wouldn't be crumpled up, handwritten pieces of paper.
January 2019, a huge spike in UFO sightings. This is already happening. There already is a huge UFO spike. You guys can look up online and everything. More UFO sightings have been seen right now, and my prediction is actually true. And I've said this a couple months ago, and it's already happening. There are UFO sightings now more often.
Right, I'm in no position to judge anybody for the way they speak. However, there's a theory put forward by Elon Musk that AI will become so advanced in the future, and it will actually be implanted into human beings. And Elon's theory is that the easiest way to explain it is, if you want to know something, you type it into Google, Google gives you the answer. But if AI continues to advance in the way it has, then you won't need to type it into Google. Your brain will be like Google, if that makes sense. So if somebody asks you the most random question in the world that you would never ordinarily know, you'll know because you'll have this chip. But bear in mind, this is only a theory. So if this guy is from the future, and if AI has advanced the way he said it was going to, why does he still sound as thick as a bull's knob?
It's because that aliens are now visiting Earth more often in 2019.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And you guys will see it, so a lot of people will see it for themselves, and they will be completely shocked about it. Because you can see as much videos as UFO sightings, but once you see in real life yourself, it is one of the craziest things possible. The fact that I said this a couple months ago, no one believed me, but now it's actually happening.
Aw, nobody believed you, Noah.
Right now, there are a bunch of UFO sightings that are happening. The aliens we discover in 2028 will actually have 3 lights emitting from their UFOs. See, they are going to be circling the Earth right now, so you guys might be able to see them. They have 3 blue lights on their UFOs. February, which is next month, the biggest and long-lasting snowstorm hits the Midwest of the United States. It is huge, trust me. It's gonna happen, and it's only in a month. You guys will see that it's in a month that I'm telling the truth, that there will be a huge snowstorm. It doesn't look like it right now to you guys, but it's gonna happen. Trust me.
Okay, and just in case you think I'm lying, Noah isn't the only time traveller. I've actually got my very own time traveller right here in my home studio, but he does want me to disguise his face and his voice. Obviously.
Hello, my name's Keith, and I'm from the year 2069. In the future, there'll be future stuff. Yeah, future stuff. By December 2019, the Creaky Blinder channel is going to have 100 million cadillion billion subscribers. Yes, I'm telling you now. Money won't be a thing. Oh, I forgot I'm not Welsh like the Creaky Blinder, damn. Interview over. Sorry guys, gotta go. Keith signing out.
Okay, so if Noah and Keith are anything to go by, I'm not holding out much hope for the future of humanity because neither of them sound like the sharpest knives in the drawer, to put it politely.
April and June have huge medical advances, such as a robotic eye that helps blind people see again.
But after joking with friends about having a robotic cyborg one installed instead, documentary maker Rob actually went and did it.
Hang on a second, Noah. I thought you were from the future. That video was from 2011. That was when that guy had his robotic eye installed. So are you from the past or the future? Or are you just Googling stuff and then making up a video about being from the future?
Next year, in January 2020, controversy begins after the A1 Machinian android is released. People think it is unnatural and it's not right and it's not okay to have on Earth, and people fear it. But trust me, androids are nothing to be worried about.
Again, Noah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree and ask you once more. Have you not seen iRobot? What do you mean androids are nothing to fear?
They are the least of our worries right now. November 3rd, 2020, President Donald J. Trump is re-elected. This is not my political opinion. This is just me telling the facts. President Trump will be re-elected for a second term.
Sorry, America, but you're going to have to blame Noah for that one, not me. He's the one from the future bringing all this information back. Is anyone else starting to get the feeling that this guy isn't being completely honest with us?
August 2028. Time travel technology, as well as extraterrestrial life, is confirmed real in the same month. Yes, in the same month, we get news that aliens are arrived to Earth, as well as that time travel exists.
But hang on a second, didn't you say...
January 2019, a huge spike in UFO sightings.
Didn't you say that in January 2019 there was a huge spike in UFO sightings? Sorry, my mistake. They were obviously just coming here a decade in advance just to have a quick look around, check the place out, see if it was suitable for them. But so my mistake. Carry on, Noah.
Huge political figures and huge celebrities are able to talk with them within hours of them arriving on Earth. A huge number of them land in Antarctica. Some of them are even left behind, which is pretty sad, but they do arrive in Antarctica.
Well, I hope they bring their big coats with them. And what if they slip on the ice? They've only got skinny, spindly little legs.
And now I'm going to show you guys a video from the future, specifically 2120.
Right, here we go, everyone. This has all been leading up to this moment. He's going to show us a video from the future, specifically from the year 2120, which, interestingly enough, he appears to be showing on a smartphone that looks like he bought it in 2019. I know what it is. He's travelled back in time to 2019 to buy a smartphone, to then re-travel back to the future to film the future, and then time travel back to 2019 with his cheap 2019 smartphone to show us the video. He didn't think to use super high technology that would probably be available in 2120. He thought he would travel back and buy a smartphone. Let's just watch. I'm excited.
Here is the video. Do you guys have a computer or something I could use to show this? Because I could project it so it could be much bigger than just a phone. Okay. This right here is the video from the future on a bigger screen. It is actually heavily distorted because of the process of time travel can actually corrupt digital items and anything in an SD card, specifically what I used to bring this video from the future.
But you said the chip in your wrist can store data, so why didn't you just use that?
So here it is though. This is the video right here. That is the video from the future. It was actually a CD that I was able to record when I was leaving the time travel facility in the future. It's a city in Nevada. Specifically, Las Vegas. That is Las Vegas in the future.
Well, I don't know about you, but I, for one, am now thoroughly convinced. That was That was Las Vegas in the future. Specifically. Not just Las Vegas, specifically Las Vegas. Oh dear. Poor you, Noah. But I'm guessing that you're part of the Apex channel and you have got 1 million subscribers. So, yeah, there's that. Well, there we go. That was Noah, the time traveller. Obviously real. Nothing fake there at all. He's definitely not just gone on Google and looked at very recent events around about the time that video was filmed. Definitely not. I thought for a change I would start this video off on a much more sensible note to prove I'm not just a one-trick pony.
Hello, everybody!
Go nuts on my nuts.
Might want to back it out a bit there, love. Leave the close-ups to the professionals. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. And today, for a change, well not for a change at all actually, because I always do it, but not as much as I used to. Anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at Helen, Skygazer. She's a flat earther, and she's a new flat earther. So, what do we expect from her? Probably the same old crap as we get from every other flat earther, but oh well, let's have a look at it anyway.
My name's Helen, and I wanted to make my first ever flat earth video. Yay!
Yay! Why?
And it's gonna be a for and against type video.
Whoa, well, this'll be a first then. An unbiased flat earther. This should be very interesting.
A lot of it will be for, I'll be honest.
Shock horror.
Because what I've observed, and I am going off mainly and solely of what I have observed myself. But for those of you who are just coming to my channel for the first time, I am a Mandela Effect channel who likes to do some skywatch. I think that's the main of the main focus of my channel.
Mandela Effect, yeah, whatever. I made a video about that last week. I'll put a link here, or it could be there, or even down there, because I can never remember where it goes. But being a sky gazer is having an interest in astronomy. Now, somebody who's interested in astronomy most definitely shouldn't be stupid enough to believe that the Earth is flat. But what do I know?
What I'd like to do first is basically go from like, how did I even get to this in the first place? Like, how did I get to where I am now?
Bump on the head, maybe?
And it's a little short story. It's not going to take very long. Because obviously, well, about 5 years ago, I think that's probably where it's come from. Like about 5 years ago, where I heard the term flat Earth. And obviously, 5 years ago, I've got to admit, I was like, oh, I can't believe people believe the Earth's flat. Oh my god, where is this happening? Like, why are these people thinking now that the Earth's flat after all this time? People thought, like, oh my god, they thought it in the 1600s. They thought the Earth was flat then. Oh my god, you know, that kind of reaction 5 years ago.
So I'm guessing that 5 years ago you hadn't fallen down the YouTube rabbit hole yet, because that's basically all flat Earth is. Somebody like you believes it if enough people say it.
But now, I'm say like 2 years later, 2016.
5 years ago, but now, 2 years later, math skills. Noah! What? I'm just thinking she must be a time traveller with maths like that. She's lost 3 years.
I woke up to the Mandela Effect.
I absolutely despise the term woke. What does it even mean? It means you became aware of one of the stupidest ideas on the face of the earth.
I was already, anyway, open to the idea that we'd never been to space. Well, the moon, really. I was already open anyway to a lot of those kinds of theories. I believed in aliens and I believed and stuff like that. So I was already fairly open.
Now, when I said a couple of months back that I didn't want to make any flat earth videos, people like her are the exact reason why. Because when I see people like this, now she said herself she's very new to the flat earth movement. It makes me wonder, has somebody written a how to be a flat earther manual? Because they all just say exactly the same thing. Because they've got nothing new, nothing original to bring to the table.
But being awake to the Mandela effect, after about maybe a year or two, certainly as we got started getting into last year, I started to be more open-minded about the idea of a flat earth.
Now, being open-minded isn't the term I would have chosen to describe what she's talking about, because if anything, being a flat earther proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that you were completely close-minded because you believe the earth is flat.
Have an open mind about it, about the flat earth, looking into hollow earth. What could the earth be? Because you start wondering when you wake up to the Mandela effect, what is it? Is it simulation? What's going on there? Are we shifting from consciousness to consciousness? Is it CERN? These are the questions. Are we living in a simulation? Is it the Matrix? All these different things. You start opening yourself up to all the ideas of what the earth could be.
What a complete amateur, because all that statement proves is that to believe in one conspiracy theory, i.e. the flat earth, you've got to believe them all. It just goes to show the type of person that buys into this nonsense. And you were one of them.
And then this is where you start getting into flat earth and stuff like that. About April this year, I started watching Brian Staveley.
Now, Brian Staveley is yet another one of your typical conspiracy channels. He talks about flat earth, the Mandela effect, we live in a simulation, you know, the kind of thing. And
I was open-minded. Basically, it's how I woke up to the Mandela effect, to be honest. I started, well, not through Brian Staveley, but I already I'm going to have an open mind about it very quickly, within a week, but it was a shorter period of time waking up to the Mandela effect to where I am now with the flat earth thing.
Again, all you're doing is proving how easily influenced you are. If somebody is enough of an idiot to believe something that they see on YouTube, this video's on YouTube, but you know what I mean. It just goes to show. It doesn't matter really, does it? She's a flat earther.
So about April this year, I backtrack a bit. I started watching Brian Staveley, and then in May I was going on my first ever plane, yay, to see my fiance. He lives in Canada, so I'd never been on a plane before, and I was really open. I was thinking, well, if I'm going to see curvature of the earth, it's going to be on a plane. Absolutely. I remember hearing people telling me that obviously you will see the curvature and stuff like that on the plane. You know, you will, that's what you'll see.
Now, if you speak to a pilot, they will tell you that they can see the curvature of the earth whilst they're flying. But it's because they have a much wider field of view than the passengers do. You know, the pilot has got the whole screen surrounding the cockpit so he can see clearly what's going on around him, obviously. But passengers have just got those little kind of rounded off square window. I know round and square doesn't make much sense, but you've all been on a plane, I assume. You can't see a wide enough view to be able to detect the curve. Plus you've got to take things like weather into account, because 9 times out of 10 when you're flying on a plane at 35,000 feet, you're flying above clouds, so all you can see is the clouds.
Yeah, round. The world's aren't round, you know, it's a ball, it's a sphere, it's a globe. Yeah. It's a relic item.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So if you already know this, why have you put a video on YouTube saying that you think the Earth is flat? I suspect it's because of all the other conspiracy style videos you've been watching. And as I said earlier on in the video, to believe one, you have to believe them all.
Obviously, but I was skeptical. My mind was opened already. I said I already delved into things like Hollow Earth and stuff like that, or what could it be? Already didn't believe anything NASA said.
You're starting to really annoy me because you're making me repeat myself, and I don't like repeating myself. But you're just a parrot. You already didn't believe anything NASA said. Why? Why would they? Calm down. Why? Why would they lie? What have they got to gain? I know what you're going to say, flat earthers.
The $52 million a day.
They've got thousands of employees. They don't do it for free. They expect to get paid. NASA does some groundbreaking research, and I've said in videos previously, certain inventions that we now have because of NASA. What the hell do you flat earth morons think they're doing with all this money? Woo! Space budget party!
Oh god, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry. I haven't spoke about the moon, which doesn't fit into any model at all. It doesn't fit into anything. It literally appears, it rises and appears and goes down pretty much anywhere. I've seen it go down over there. I've seen it go down in the west. I've seen it set in the east. I've seen it set all over the place. I've seen it go very high. I've seen it go low. You know, it's the only thing that's not consistent with either model.
She's giving me a headache now. Of course it's not consistent with the flat earth model because there is no flat earth model. It's perfectly consistent with the globe because the problem is your lack of understanding. Now my understanding is only limited, but I can grasp it. The moon takes 1 month and its orbit is elliptical. The reason the moon goes up and down day and night is because of the Earth's rotation, but it actually takes the moon 1 month to make a full elliptical rotation, so does it really matter anyway? I'm going to include a link to this woman's full video because it's nearly 40 minutes long and there is no way in the world I am torturing myself for 40 minutes watching this. Whatever she is. Flat earther, globe earther, hollow earther, Mandela effect, fake moon landing. She seems to believe them all.
God damn, there's a lot of stupid bastards walking around.
There's a couple of things I want to address in today's video. Thing 1, I'm going to look at the moon landing hoax because only an idiot would think it was a hoax. And the second thing I'm going to look at is as a result of some comments I've been getting. I've been getting comments from people asking me, what business is it of mine who believes in what conspiracy? How does it affect me? Why do I care?
Hey, what's up you guys? Yes, today is another time for some conspiracy theories.
Shane Dawson is a very, very successful YouTuber with 21 million subscribers, many of whom are young, impressionable people. And that's why I care. Because where's his sense of responsibility? Doesn't he understand that certain things he says will directly influence young people and create a society of morons? So let's have a look at Shane Dawson and his take on the moon landing conspiracy.
So today we're going to be talking about one of the most famous conspiracy theories there is. I've been obsessed with this one since I was a kid. It really is kind of what got me into conspiracy theories in the first place. And that is the theory that we never landed on the moon. It was all fake.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Creaky Weekly. New light because everyone was complaining my videos were getting too dark. Sorry, what can I say? Anyway, if it's your first time here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on bell notifications for more content like this, even though you haven't seen what this is going to be yet. So today, like I said, I want to take a look at Shane Dawson and his take on the moon landing conspiracy, which has been debunked a squadillion times already. But yeah, we're going to have a look at it anyway, just because, okay?
So as we know it, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong landed on the moon for the first time in 1969. And the whole thing was televised so all of America could see. But because it was televised, a lot of people started noticing things that didn't quite make sense. And that's how the conspiracy theories started.
Before we go too far, let's rewind a little bit. What is a conspiracy theory? A conspiracy theory is a belief that a covert but influential organization is responsible for an unexplained event. But the moon landing isn't unexplained. It's exactly what it says it is. We landed on the moon, Mr. Dawson.
So why would the moon landing be fake? So back in the day, America really wanted to get to the moon first. They wanted to beat all the other countries. But technically, they didn't really have the technology to quite do that yet. So instead, they created it on a soundstage and they filmed it. And they were like, hey, guess what? We were here first.
Did people go to the moon in 1969? I'm not totally sure. I wasn't on the moon then. Did they fake going to the moon? No, I'm pretty sure they didn't, because they couldn't. Some people say that in 1969 people were incapable of sending a man to the moon, but that they were capable of staging the whole thing in a TV studio. In fact, the opposite is true. By the late 1960s, they did have the technical ability, not to mention the requisite madness, to send 3 guys to the moon and back. They did not have the technology to fake it on video.
So that's writer and director S.G. Williams of Post-War Media. He's a film producer, filmmaker that proves in this video that it is absolutely impossible that they faked the moon landing, because they just simply didn't have the technology to do it. But as he says, however, they did have the technology to send a man to the moon, which is exactly what they did.
Number 1, when they put the American flag in the moon, the flag started waving. But on the moon, there's no air in the atmosphere, so there's no wind. So technically, the flag would not fucking wave, but it was waving as if there was air. Check it out. Hello? That was fucking air, that was wind, that was an air conditioner from the set.
Hello? Don't be a spaz, it wasn't waving. The reason there was movement in the flag is if you look closely at the flag itself, there's a rod running across the top like a curtain pole. And the movement in the flag, which we could all see, is when the flag was being planted in the ground. Now, the reason the flag was moving is actually because there's no wind. Because when you place the flag in the ground, the movement caused by it hanging from above and at the side did cause movement in the flag. Nobody's saying the flag didn't move, but it certainly wasn't caused by wind, because there is no wind on the moon.
No, bitch, it was waving.
No, bitch, it wasn't.
But that's not the only piece of evidence, there's a lot more. Number 2, where the fuck are the stars? If you're standing on the moon and you're in the middle of outer space, wouldn't you be fucking surrounded by stars?
You're quite right, Shane, you would be surrounded by stars if you were stood on the moon. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the camera used to capture the images would be able to capture the stars.
I mean, shit, when you're in LA and there's like no smog that day, or when you're in New York and all the lights go out, you look up in the sky and you see stars. And those are in overly populated, smoggy areas. If you're in fucking outer space, you should literally be in the number 1 place to see stars. Not total blackness, which is what you saw. Just look at the footage again, no stars. I don't know, to me that looks like a soundstage with like a big black curtain, but whatever.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, Shane Dawson. And you call yourself a YouTuber and videographer. You do realise there's something on a camera called the exposure setting. Now basically the moon's surface and the astronaut suits were reflective. So if they had set the exposure to capture the stars, then the astronauts would have been completely blown out. They would have been so blurry you wouldn't have been able to see it, and then that would have been wrong as well. So they set the exposure on the camera so that they could capture the images of the astronauts on the moon, which were the important images, nice and clearly and crisply. And because they did that, you then couldn't see the stars in the background, so there was no big black curtain. It was just down to the settings on the camera. Shane, you're really not doing yourselves any favour in this video. You're just making yourself look really, really stupid.
Number 3, the Sea Rock. Now the Sea Rock is famous because it is a rock that was in a picture of the moon landing, and there's a sea carved in it. Now if this was just a random rock in outer space, there would not be a perfectly carved or written sea, unless there was aliens there and they randomly had a Sharpie and they were like, ooh, let me tag this. But what a lot of people think is that it was actually a prop, you know, just like you'd see on a movie set. And they lettered them and numbered all the rocks to make sure they were in the right place. So like the Sea Rock goes over the sea. Well, a set decorator must have accidentally forgot to turn the rock upside down, and that's why you can see the sea.
And the explanation for any normal person and somebody who isn't a complete spanner like Shane Dawson is that it was most likely a photographic glitch or a stray hair that found its way onto the film during the developing process. Or another theory, and this could be a hoax in itself, is that somebody has deliberately, after the event, doctored the photo and added a letter C in it to try and further discredit the moon landing as being the real historical event that it was.
But the rock wasn't the only thing that people saw that made them think it was a movie set. If you look really closely in the reflection of one of the astronauts' helmet, you can see a stage light hanging in front of him. Yeah, that's not a spaceship, that's not some UFO or an alien shuttle, that's a stage light. And back in the 60s, they didn't have the technology to like CGI it out, you know, like they were literally probably on just some shitty soundstage and just like trying to make shit look real.
Shane, do you ever watch your videos back? Did you hear what you just said? Let me play it for you again.
And back in the 60s, they didn't have the technology to like CGI it out.
So back in the 60s, they didn't have the technology to CGI it out. And by the way, it's not a stage light, it's just a reflection. Let's hear that one more time so we can grasp it.
And back in the 60s, they didn't have the technology to like CGI it out.
So in the 60s, they didn't have the technology to CGI out a reflection in the astronaut's helmet, but they had the technology to fake the entire moon landing. What an absolute tool.
CGI it out, CGI it out, CGI it out.
Oh, dear me.
Speaking of stage lights, there's another piece of evidence that involves them. Now, if you're on the moon, the sun is like literally directly hitting you. So that would make every shadow go a certain way. For example, the light is hitting me right here, right? So my shadow is going behind me, my hand shadow is going behind me. But if there was a light up here and this light, it would make some shadows go behind me and some go in front of me. It would just make all the shadows go everywhere. Well, that's what started happening during the moon landing. Look at these pictures. The shadows are going in all different ways, which means they're not coming from the sun. They're coming from lights, lights, lights everywhere. Ugh, it's so creepy to think about. Just imagine like you're in the 60s, you're so excited, everybody's huddled around the TV, you're watching what you think is somebody landing on the moon for the first time and putting the flag in, and then years later you find out none of it was real. It was all bullshit. Once again, it's a theory. I don't want to get sued or put in jail.
But what about getting made fun of? Is that acceptable?
And the last piece of evidence is what really creeps me out just thinking about it. So obviously if this was a set and it wasn't real, then they must have been on wires and they, weren't really anti-gravity, they were just pretending. Well, some of the footage of the moon landing and other moon landings has been looked at and people are claiming that they can see the wires. Take a look. I don't know. It just creeps me out so much. And it's not a shock because the government fakes so much shit.
But what are you pointing at? Can you see my wires? I'm pointing at them, so they must be there. What about now, from this angle? Look, I'm still having them pointed at. Can you see them now? There's nothing there. This is just a perfect example of people seeing something when it isn't there, or only seeing what they want to see. which would embellish this even further as a conspiracy, which it just isn't. It was a huge, huge achievement, and it just so happened that America were the first ones to do it. So why, and for what possible reason, apart from wanting to be first, just grow up. Just quit with the pseudoscience to explain skepticism and grow up. There's no conspiracy apart from where you want to put it. There were men on the moon. Just get a grip. But I will say, I do agree with you about governments. Governments do lie to people all the time. Whether it's because they want to, have to, or need to is a completely different discussion. But that is one point I will agree with you on. Shane Dawson.
I mean, we've talked about, 9/11, we've talked about crisis actors. Why wouldn't the moon landing be fake? Why wouldn't we fake that just to win over other countries? It makes you wonder, have we ever actually been to the moon? What if the moon is a hologram? What if it's not real? Who the fuck knows? Ooh! What if the moon is a hologram and is controlled by the aliens? Stay with me. And the aliens are like, fuck, people are figuring out it's a hologram. Hey guys, you need to make it look like you landed on the moon. We'll help you out. Here's some money, go get a sound studio. Maybe the aliens are in control of all of it. I don't know, that's a little crazy. Not as crazy as the theory that the moon is empty and aliens actually live inside of it, or the theory that all the members of the Illuminati also live inside of the moon and they're watching Earth from like big monitors. Those are a little crazy. The moon landing being fake, kind of believe it.
So I left that little section in just to kind of illustrate that Shane Dawson is very gullible. And the reason the American government and NASA wouldn't fake the moon landing just to be the first ones that were there is because they're not 5-year-old children. As I said, grow up.
American fool.
Well, would you Adam and Eve it? It seems that the idiots do have a king, and his name is Nathan Thompson. And there's a really good reason why I take issue with this idiot, lunatic, whatever you want to call him, and all his beliefs. But we'll talk about that later on in the video.
We're not dealing with normal people.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make an announcement. Has anyone heard the Earth is flat?
They're psychopaths. I actually can't believe how popular the group is. I woke up this morning and I have 2,200 members to approve, so the group is just exploding.
Now it seems to me that Nathan's whole belief system is based around the fact that he thinks NASA are lying to us about the Earth being a globe or a sphere. But my question would be, what have NASA got to gain by making us believe that the Earth is a sphere? What would happen if the Earth was flat? Why would they need to keep that a secret? They wouldn't. It's really that simple. Another part of his theory, which I find absolutely laughable, is the fact that he thinks that the word NASA means something in Hebrew.
Good morning, Hebrews and Shebrews.
Let's just have a look.
NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
This frequently used translation is in fact incorrect, and NASA in Hebrew actually means to lift.
Now, who speaks Hebrew?
Jewish people from Israel speak Hebrew, so...
There's your answer right there.
Wait, hang on a second. So if you're from Israel and you speak Hebrew, you are responsible for covering up the fact that the Earth is in fact flat and not a globe.
So you asked me who was behind it, and I think it's pretty obvious once you do the research.
Perfect logic. Why didn't I think of that? Nathan, come here. You do realize you're saying all this out loud, don't you?
You ever hear about the flat Earth? Did you know what's in the Bible? That the Earth's flat?
These flat earthers are really starting to off.
So it's in the Bible that the Earth is flat. And the basic gist of it, without going too deep, is that a giant tree was planted that grew up to the heavens, and they could see the four corners of the Earth. Part of your belief is based on a giant tree and a book that was written in the 6th century, when, I'll give you, it was believed that the earth was flat. But it's been proven for thousands of years with the advancement of technology and science. And let's get back to this tree. Who else was up there with them? Maybe Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny? Just stop this nonsense that is fueled by the internet. The thing that baffles me more than anything else about this whole flat earth nonsense is the way that flat earth believers can just brush off centuries of scientific research. And don't worry, we are going to get to the part of the video that explains why I think that Nathan Thompson is a complete lunatic, and I may even go as far to say as potentially quite a dangerous individual. The thing is, in this day and age, you just should really know better. There's years and years of research that prove for a fact, not an assumption, not a theory, for a fact, that the earth is actually round. It's a globe, it's a sphere. It is not flat. I've just come across another clip of Nathan Thompson. If you needed proof that this guy is a complete nut job, here it is.
I've got crosshairs on my back. I don't know if it's the CIA or the FBI or whoever's protecting these pedophiles that run the world.
So there we have it. The world is run by pedophiles. Like I say, I don't even know what to say to that. It kind of reminds me of a schoolyard argument, you know, where two kids are arguing, my dad's better than you, no, I'm right, you, and then when you can't win the argument, you go, you smell, and then run off, because you've got nothing more sensible to say. That's what this kind of reminds me of. Saying that the world is run by paedophiles. I've never, ever heard anything so ridiculous in my life.
Regarding the ice walls...
Oh, wait, hang on, maybe I have heard something equally as ridiculous. The ice wall.
It's never been proven, but it makes a lot of sense. Something has to hold the water in. We know that the water is not falling off an edge.
Newsflash, the reason it's not falling off an edge is because the sphere doesn't have any edges, does it?
And there's no ships and boats going off the edge. That's all a ridiculous conception to make people laugh at the flat earth theory when they hear about it.
The group have also made claims that space exploration is fake and that NASA is a fraudulent organisation.
Just bear with me 1 second. Hello, Elon, Creaky Blinder. Yeah, I'm very well, mate, I'm very well. I've got an idea about these flat earth guys. How would you feel about flying them all into space to prove that space is actually there and that it does exist? Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it is ridiculous. And I tell you what, here's another idea as well. Once you get them all up into space, would it be possible to leave them there? I know, it's an awesome idea. Well, see what you can do and give me a call back or email me. Okay, thanks Elon. Yeah, you have a good day as well. Okay, bye. It's worth a try. And in fairness, it's no more ridiculous than any of the ideas that flat earthers follow anyway, so what have I got to lose? Get in touch, Elon Musk. Let me know when you can ship them all out.
My heart goes out to you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, or good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Now, for those of you who've been watching me for a while, I hope you think that I'm a nice guy, and that my appearance has little relevance to my character.
Why, oh why, do so many people have tattoos?
Yes. Because apparently, if you have tattoos, and especially a tattoo on your face or your neck, then you're stupid. Or at least that's what this guy thinks. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Creaky Weekly. I'm the Creaky Blinder, quite clearly, and today we're going to be having a look at Dr. Edward Dickhead.
It's Edward Dutton.
So, what?
You fat, bald pleb.
Oh, alright. Dr. Edward Dutton. Sorry.
Hello. So I finally did it. I finally went into Camberley and got a tattoo.
Yeah, this guy's a doctor. Now, there's not many things in this world that wind me up, but judgmental toffs like this complete bell end really.
My wife said I wouldn't dare. My wife said, you wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to cope with the pain. But I said, no, I'm going to do it. I've always wanted to have a tattoo. I've always wanted to have one.
Now, you're going to have to excuse me if the cuts from Dr. Dickhead into me aren't as smooth as the cuts usually are in my video. But this guy is talking at 150 mile an hour as if he's completely off his face on speed. Now, he clearly hasn't had any real tattoos. He's had some person to draw all over his face and make him look as stupid as he sounds. And do I detect a certain amount of sarcasm in his voice? Well, the sarcasm on this channel is done by one person and one person only.
I finally now decided. So I went into Camberley and I went there originally with thinking of just getting one tattoo, but I ended up getting 4, and I'm very, very, very pleased with them. This one is a shamrock, and it's because my great-grandmother was Irish, and I've always kind of identified with the Irish. I always find them, they're unpretentious, and they're honest, and they're fun like me. I'm quite fun.
Is anyone else as aggravated by this guy as me? And we're only a couple of minutes into the video.
And also, my great-grandmother was Irish. She was from County Meath. So it's kind of part of my blood. It's kind of part of who I am. I always feel that there's Irishness in my veins at the end of the day. And so that's why I wanted to make, to identify myself as Irish and to make it clear that I am Irish. And so therefore, I'm a bit Irish. So I decided to have a shamrock tattooed on my face.
Now, clearly, what he's doing here is mocking people like me, and like you, if you have tattoos, for the reasons they get those tattoos. And from experience, I found that it's always idiots like this who don't know the sometimes emotional meaning behind a tattoo mock them.
But then I thought, well, while I'm here, I may as well carry on. So I've got 2 children. And so of course I love them, and they're a big part of who I am. Our family are very close. We're a very close family, very close knit family. And so I decided that I wanted to express my love for them and how important they are to my life and to me on my face.
Yeah, and I've got something I'd like to put on your face. Again, all he's doing is mocking the reasons that people get tattoos. Now, based on him, I'd guess his kids are called Jemima and Harold because he's a toff. And can anyone say judgmental?
Why, oh why? Oh, by the way, hello in normal persona.
You were acting, my humble apologies. But to be honest, you sound just as annoying, even in your normal persona. But do go on, Doctor.
Why, oh why, do so many people have tattoos? Where has this come from? In the 1980s, when I was a boy, very few people had tattoos. It was basically, sort of working class stroke underclass people. They might occasionally, and it was only occasionally, have tattoos.
Working class I'd be proud to accept, because I am working class and I work hard. Underclass, well, I suppose if you're a spoilt, public school, silver spoon in your mouth toff like you, then I suppose everybody's going to be underclass. To you and your twisted view of reality. Oh, by the way, Doctor, how much is a loaf of bread these days? I bet you got no idea.
And so there was something quite useful about them, because at that time, if somebody had a tattoo, it was quite clear, look, you probably better stay away from them unless you want your face kicked in.
Perfect. Let's throw a little bit of stereotyping in there, to go along with how judgmental you are, you sanctimonious.
I mean, that was tattoos, or it was quite clear that the woman, if she had a tattoo at that time, was a woman basically of loose morals. I was at school with a girl, she was from a single-parent family, and her mother had a tattoo of true love and her name, and then true love and her brother's name on. So, and she was an absolute tart.
I'll be fine. Don't worry. So because she had a tattoo, she was an absolute tart.
You have all of these people, these pop singers and whatever, that have tattoos. Justin Bieber, Rihanna has loads of tattoos. Ed Sheeran can hardly be regarded as from a sort of working class background. You know, he's quite a middle class, respectable kind of a guy.
What? Ed Sheeran's got tattoos? I had never noticed, I swear. Ed Sheeran can't be considered working class. So, what, only working class or underclass people can get tattooed? Have you actually watched this video back and listened to yourself? Anyway, you're probably wondering why I'm making this video. So am I at this stage, because it's just really winding me up. But I came across this particular person, it must be 7 or 8 months ago, and I've sat on this video for a long time. But I get asked a lot in my live streams about my tattoos and how I feel about tattoos in general. So I thought I'd make a video to clarify my thoughts on tattoos and why people get them. And just to sum it up, it's basically the exact opposite of everything this complete spanner is saying.
What is it about people? Why do people have tattoos? This was something that one of my chatters and one of my commenters on YouTube asked me about, and it got me thinking, why is it that people have tattoos?
Well, clearly it's because they look absolutely awesome. And it's a perfect way to express yourself. And why would somebody not have a tattoo? Now, if you don't like tattoos and you've chosen not to have one, that's absolutely fine. But I love tattoos. I enjoy being tattooed. I enjoy the process of having a tattoo applied. So who's this knobhead to tell me what's right or wrong about having a tattoo? The same as I've got no right to tell anybody they are wrong for not having a tattoo. So I'm really interested to see his thoughts on why people get tattooed, because you can bet your ball bag it's going to be completely inaccurate.
And I actually look at this in my book, How to Judge People by What They Look Like.
Pardon? Your book? How to Judge People by What They Look Like? Why am I not surprised? Judging somebody by the way they look is the absolute last way you should judge somebody. And in fact, you shouldn't judge anybody, full stop. Actually, if you'd allow me to make a small correction there, you shouldn't judge anybody, full stop, apart from flat earthers. You can judge those as much as you like, because let's be honest, they're all just idiots.
And so I want to explore this now, the data on what you can tell about somebody from what they look like in terms of having tattoos. Now, there was a study by Tate and Shelton, and they found that there was a clear dimension to people that have tattoos. People that have tattoos have a need for uniqueness. It's a very specific trait. They have a need to be unique. It's an aspect of openness. This is one of the big 5 personality traits. They have a need to be unique, a need to be different, a need basically to not conform.
I have absolutely no idea why this guy is speaking so fast, but I find it very difficult to understand when he's absolutely doing my nothing.
Being unique, yeah, I'm all for that. I love the fact that I stand out in a crowd. My bald head, my tattoos, my nose piercing. It's what I like, it's what I enjoy. Why shouldn't I want to be different from everyone else? Who wants to just blend into the crowd and be a nobody?
Nobody.
But to say that a person who is tattooed does so to be a non-conformist is an absolute load of old shite.
Secondly, it was found that they were lower, these are only small effect sizes, but people with tattoos are lower in agreeableness. Now, agreeableness is a matter of, it's basically reducible to altruism. So people who have tattoos are lower in altruism. They are less nice, they are less kind than people who, on average, who don't have tattoos.
I'm nice. Ask Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital how nice I was when I handed over nearly $4,000 for getting this tattoo done under sponsorship, as a token of thanks for everything they did for my son. Ask them how nice I am. Whew, this is getting really stressful. Now, the problem I've got with this guy isn't the fact that he's saying people with tattoos are not nice, because I'm sure there are people who've got lots of tattoos that are complete dickheads. But equally, there are many, many people without tattoos that are also complete and utter dickheads. So I think what really bothers me about this is the level of generalization. If you have a tattoo, you're a bad person. You're the underclass. You're uneducated. You're not nice. So, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Does having tattoos make you a bad person? So, one of you lovely lot, namely Otto von Skidmark. Start again. So, one of you lovely lot, namely Otto von Skidmark, posted a clip in my video suggestions tab on Discord about this lady.
What's up, y'all?
500,000 views. 500,000! She's just talking on her phone in the car. I work hard on my videos. I haven't even got 500,000. Actually, I have. I've got over 500,000. But that's on my whole channel, which is nearly... Calm down. But that is on my whole channel, which is over 1 year old. So, I found another video, which was slightly more interesting. So let's, as per the title of her video, let's talk about witches and things.
Mostly things, right, Creaky?
Magical? Is that you? Yeah, but mostly things. Let's go.
Go nuts on my nuts. I tell them
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. Now, after yesterday's very serious video, I thought we could do with lightening the mood a little and showing the new people just what this channel's all about. And while we're on the subject of channels, that was Radical, The Unhallowed Knight. Now, why are you not subscribed to him? Head over there now, pause this video, and hit the subscribe button. Go on, I'll wait. Done? You're back? Right, good. Let's get on with today's video.
So, what I want to talk about in this video, first and foremost, I noticed that when I get some subscribers, they come in waves. Okay? It depends on what type of video that I put out there. The video that has been oddly enough getting a lot of views here lately is a video that I did almost a year ago about an incident that I had with a hairdresser who is a witch.
Yeah, I'm no stranger to incidents with hairdressers, but I definitely don't think he was a witch. Wait, can men be witches? Or are they wizards? Or something else?
But what I noticed in the comments is like the Christians and these witches were just popping out of the woodworks, and I mean they was going for each other.
Going for each other? Care to elaborate?
I mean, like, they might as well had on boxing gloves in them comments.
Ah, so you mean different people from different belief systems disagreeing in a YouTube comment section?
Who'd have thunk it?
Well, that never happens in my comment section. It's so harmonious. Everybody loves each other, and they especially love me.
But now, see, this is what I want to discuss. First and foremost, I want to say that I am open-minded, okay? And I do realize that most of what I have been taught throughout my life has been a f***ing lie.
Ah, you're one of those people. Well, okay then, enlighten us.
Especially, and more specifically, when it pertains to religion. We are at war, okay?
Yeah, well, fair dues, I will agree with you there. Religion is a very divisive topic. It's dangerous to talk about because no matter which side you take, religious, non-religion, this religion, that religion, you're always going to risk offending somebody. But to say that religion puts us at war, in this instance, I know there's been lots of wars that have been, it doesn't matter. I thought we were talking about witches anyway.
I'm saying it's the battle right now. The war hasn't officially happened just yet.
Well, make your mind up. Are we at war? Are we not at war? Or are we just talking about childish little arguments that pop off in YouTube YouTube comment sections? Make your mind up.
But let me say this, y'all. I noticed that a lot of Christians will say, man, you know, you gotta pray and you know, different things, and then the witches come in and they say, you know, not all witches are bad, blah 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 blah.
Wait, what? You get witches in your YouTube comment section? That, you know, that actually explains a lot. I thought that some of the women commenting on my videos were quite mean. Like, how do I tell? Because obviously I can't see the big nose or the green skin or the warts. How do I tell if one of my commenters is a witch?
Now, this is the way I look at it. This planet is so dark and packed full of witchcraft. This evil, dark-ass witchcraft that a lot of people have found themselves becoming a part of witchcraft for the simple fact that they have to learn how to protect themselves because, truth be told, in a lot of cases, prayer won't work. And that's just the God honest truth, especially if you're praying by yourself.
And what if you're not praying at all? Does that work as well? Because I don't, and I'm fairly sure that I haven't been attacked by a witch yet. I could be wrong, as hard as that may be to believe, but I'm pretty sure I've not.
Then I heard a couple Christians, you know, well, I saw a couple Christians left comments, you know, saying that, you know, you got to go through deliverance. Have you ever been through deliverance?
Wrong type of deliverance?
I'll tell you what. You might be able to deliver a spirit, but this electronical shit.
Electronical? Is that even a word?
These creatures that you can't necessarily call them demons. They're aliens.
Demon schmeeman.
Alien Walian.
I thought this video was meant to be about witches.
Okay? And that's just real talk. You can call them demons because they are evil.
Ah, but are they? You seem to be forgetting about Glinda, the good witch from The Wizard of Oz. She wasn't evil or a demon. So there.
And they have technology, some very advanced technology that is electronic based.
I thought witches just had a broomstick, but I suppose with technological advancements, maybe they're now rechargeable.
Okay, and you can't deliver that shit.
Of course you can deliver them. You can order anything online these days. Have you never heard of Amazon Prime?
And that's just real talk. But see, a lot of y'all don't know about this.
Everybody knows about Amazon Prime unless you've been living under a rock. Unless, of course, we're talking about something entirely different. Which wouldn't surprise me, because the title of your video is Witches and Things. But so far we seem to be mostly covering things.
Throughout my journey and throughout my experience of being attacked with these electronic weapons.
Oh God, please, no, not another one. Maybe she's friends with the targeted citizen from last week's video. And can we stop saying electronical? I'm pretty sure it's not even a word.
They've caused me to gain a lot of weight. These electronic weapons can cause so many different things. They can drain you. They harvest your energy with these electronic weapons. They mess with your cells and cause you to gain weight.
And it's not maybe the famously unhealthy diet that a lot of American people seem to subject themselves to. No, you're definitely going with electronical weapons that affect your cells and cause you to gain weight. This woman's definitely friends with a targeted citizen. Absolutely 100%.
They can burn you. They can do all type of shit with these electronic weapons, these microwave weapons, these these EMF weapons is crazy, okay?
Crazy?
No, surely not. Now, this woman is definitely considering herself to be a targeted citizen, as well as Joe Blogs from that other video. Now, somebody in the comment section of the targeted citizen video made a very good point. If they or them are out to get you, surely it would be a high priority for them to stop you making videos, spreading the word about them and uploading them to YouTube. Or is that part of it acceptable? It's just general day-to-day life they don't like you living.
And as far as witchcraft goes,
yes, at last, a mention of witches and witchcraft.
you know, I'm not a fan of the idea of witchcraft, but I understand where a lot of these quote-unquote white witches are coming from, because it comes down to them protecting themselves.
But protecting themselves from what? Because the last time I checked, witchcraft, or witch magic, whichever you choose to call it, isn't a real thing. Because all magic is tricking somebody's eye, or tricking their mind, sleight of hand. It's not real, it's make-believe. So what exactly are they protecting themselves from? Holy hell, am I that wrinkly? May want to ease up on the close-up shots.
I'm not for witches. I don't like witches, because all the witches that I have had come into my life have been bad.
Now let's just for 1 second work on the assumption that witches are in fact real. They're not, but let's say they were. I think the more pertinent question would be, why you? What is it that you do that attracts these so-called witches into your life?
And they have been trying to steal something from me. They have stolen from me, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately what it comes down to is, man, in a sense we kind of have to lose that term witch and warlock, because...
Warlock, that's it. I knew men couldn't be called witches. Where did I get wizard from? Maybe I've been watching a bit too much Harry Potter.
The point that I want to make in this video is that,
oh, at last, so there actually is a point to this video.
As y'all can see, man, my channel is set up very different. I touch on a lot of different topics on this channel.
She does cover a lot of different topics on her channel, in fairness, and they're all equally as batshit crazy as each other. And interestingly enough, like 99.999999% of people that make this type of content, they all mysteriously film every single video from the safety of their car. Well, I say safety, they're generally driving when they do so it's not that safe. But it does make me wonder, do her family know about this YouTube channel? Or does she keep her nuttiness to herself? Well, not to herself, because she uploads it to YouTube. You know what I mean, though. She doesn't want her family to know about her crazy beliefs.
But ultimately, what I want people to understand is that, you know, everything doesn't work the way we thought.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that feeling myself, and that would include YouTube video titles. Because your video title, Let's Talk About Witches and Things, is extremely misleading. Because, I don't know if I've not been paying attention and I've missed it, but there's been very little of witches of any description. I wonder why that is. Is it maybe because you can't say an awful lot about something that actually isn't real?
I'm gonna use an example. You know, today I saw this creature. It just like came through the house, and it was like, it had on a black cloak, and it was like you know, transparent, I guess you could say.
Do you know, I'm starting to see a pattern here, and I'm making myself wonder if maybe this is why somebody like this woman, who's got 500,000 views on one of her videos, is way more successful on YouTube than I am. Maybe it's my lack of capacity to make shit up that's holding my channel back. This being honest malarkey doesn't seem to be all it's cracked up to be. It's not doing me any favours.
And I see these beings all the times. I know them to be quote unquote the ascended masters. For those of y'all that know about the New Age, that stay away from it, I highly suggest that you stay away from the New Age.
Yeah, that's basically me. The more somebody tells me to stay away from something, now I really want to know more about the New Age.
What you guys have to understand is that your body is only a vehicle. Now, y'all know that much, but have an understanding that these creatures might be your neighbors. They might live in your neighborhood. They might be in your family. You can only pray so much away. And that's just real talk.
Yeah, real talk. And shall I tell you what else is real talk? I have no idea. Where was I going with that?
Now to take a slidey toilet seat soaking wet dump.
Do you fight for your rights? Yes. I fight for my rights.
Either a Beastie Boys fan or a sovereign citizen. Stick around and we'll find out.
Go nuts on my nuts.
He can't be a Beastie Boys fan, obviously. He didn't say to party. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. And by way of a change, I thought today we would look at something other than flat earth, because at the moment, flat earth just feels a bit, well, flat. And due to the fact that there are a plethora of other morons scattered across YouTube, I thought it was only fair that a guy like me, who has spent the last 2 years honing his pointing and laughing skills, share them out equally. Tidy!
Today, I was disgusted by some of the comments in the comments section on sovereignty, on sovereign citizens, the right to travel.
Now, I'm not going to fully disagree with him on this point, because as we all know, the YouTube comment section can be a toxic place. But what he means by he was disgusted by his comment section, I can only imagine his disgust comes from the fact that so many people disagree with the absolute crap that sovereign citizens think puts them above the law.
Okay, following? So check this out. Today, I puked in my mouth a little bit when I was reading these weak men. If you don't stand up for your rights, you're not a man.
I'm not a weak man, or at least I don't think I am. I am a law-abiding man, and I do stand up for my rights. Upon doing some extensive flat earther style research, searching through YouTube, the one reoccurring theme I found when it comes to sovereign citizens is the right to travel. And from the way I understand it, what they're actually referring to is the freedom of movement and the United States law, which is in the Privileges and Immunities Clause of the United States Constitution. And this particular section was written in 1873, so to say that it's not exactly up to date may be a little bit of an understatement, and as far as I can see, it all stems from a massive misunderstanding by these idiots. So everyone lawfully within the territory of state shall, within that territory, have the right to liberty of movement and freedom of choice of his residence. Everybody shall be free to leave any country, including his own. Weird. I didn't see any mention in there of not needing a driver's license or insurance. But that could possibly be, and bear with me here, because in 1873, cars weren't a thing.
Anyways, I travel with no license, no insurance. No, I have insurance right now, but that's because I could afford insurance for this month. But when I got my mortgage and I gotta buy dog food, I gotta buy food for me, I gotta pay electric bill, I gotta do all that. Sometimes I don't have that extra 275 bitch ass dollars to pay this insurance company in case something happens. In case!
This guy's obviously got a clockwork brain, hasn't he? And he forgot to wind it up this morning. Well, of course we pay our insurance in case something happens. Not having something happen is the ideal. I really don't see the problem. And I hate to say it, but can I suggest one of two things? Either find a better job, or a job if you don't have one, or just don't drive.
It's not gonna happen. We don't know if it's gonna happen.
He really seems like the type of guy that they would use as a blueprint for building an idiot, doesn't he? That's the whole point of it. We don't know when an accident may or may not occur. So you pay your car insurance, which is a legal requirement to drive on the roads, so that in the event of an accident, you're covered. And more importantly, the poor unfortunate person you happen to crash into is covered as well. Let's say, for argument's sake, that you're driving your car or van or whatever it is you choose to drive down the highway, and you crash into somebody in a Porsche. Now, I know exactly what you'd come back at me with on that. Oh, well, if they can afford a Porsche, they can afford to get it fixed. And yeah, they probably can. But why should they? Because an irresponsible moron like you, Mr. Sovereign Citizen, thinks he doesn't require insurance to drive on the roads?
Here's everything you need to know to be man. I'm not going to say a man, but to be man. And I'm speaking of the species. We're not human.
Well, I'm a human being. What exactly are you?
You know what human means? You know what the legal definition in the Black's Law Dictionary,
1860 something, so really up to date again. If you're going to cite legal references, could you at least make them apply to this century?
But you know what the absolute definition is? And by the way, the Black's Law Dictionary is the dictionary that they use to write the language into law.
Wicked. That's really interesting for a book that was written in the late 1800s, but are you actually going to make a point?
Did you know that human is legally defined as monster?
Right, so what he's misinterpreted, what he's referring to here is in Black's Law Dictionary, it actually says that a person can be more than just a human being. And what that means is, for example, in the United Kingdom, some businesses can be set up as a limited liability company, an LTD. And in the eyes of the law, that limited company is its own legal entity. But I've been looking at this really boring legal stuff for the last half an hour, and it's doing my head in. So I'm not going to look at it anymore. And if you look for the actual legal definition of human, which is relevant today, not in the late 1800s, this is it. This. No mention of monsters anywhere.
You know what monster is? It's like deformed. It's. Anyways, monsters have no right to land.
Oh wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Did you know that? No, because they don't want you to know that.
Oh, so we're back to they again. Who exactly are they? And why would they want you to not know what you just stated? Probably because it was the biggest load of old shit I've heard in my life. If they were real, of course.
What? No, that's not right. That's not right. Traveling. Okay, here we go.
Ugh, at last, he's actually gonna talk about a sovereign citizen's right to travel without a license or insurance, obviously.
Right now, this is a driver.
I was wondering what that round thing was he was hanging on to. It's a steering wheel.
He is engaged in commerce. That's why I'm sitting over here.
No, you're not. You're sitting over there because you haven't got a driver's license, you muppet.
I'm sitting over here because I don't have
a driver's license or insurance. And more importantly, why are you sat on the driver's side of the vehicle but the steering wheel is mysteriously on the left? Damn you pesky Americans and driving on the wrong side of the road and the car.
So, you gotta look at it from this point of view. Just because everyone says something doesn't make it right.
Now, I was going to insert something witty here, but I think I'll just get straight to the point. Surely that debunks everything a sovereign citizen believes in, because you did actually just say...
Just because everyone says something doesn't make it right.
So in this instance, everyone being all the other sovereign citizen morons saying that you don't require a license, you don't require insurance, that you're free to travel, and that you're not answerable to the law, by the logic you've just used, you've just shown that none of your arguments are valid. Thanks.
You have to use your brain and read a goddamn book. You know, like you open it up and it's like got paper like sheets in it, and those are called pages, and it has little words on. Read a fucking book.
Cute. This moron is telling us to read a book. That's rich, coming from a sovereign citizen. How about you read a book? Maybe a book about the law. And why have you got stupid tattooed above your eyebrow? Does it say stupid? I think it does.
And do the research on who wrote the book. Older books, not new books.
Oh, well obviously, heaven forbid we should read any books that are actually up to date and may contain information about the laws that apply today. Just read older books from the late 1800s, because they're applicable, obviously.
Because they have to be factual. The right to travel any roads by any means unmolested shall not be infringed.
Well, I travel the roads unmolested most of the time, every day, and my right is never infringed. I'm free to do so. But we don't live in the late 1800s anymore, bozo. We live in 2020, or what's left of it, because lagerlurgy and shiz. But we've still got that right. The only difference is now there are certain stipulations that we must adhere to not break the law and to not put other road users in danger. You dickhead.
Amen. You're not gonna do it, y'all. You're gonna be fearful because you are afraid of cops. They scare the fuck out of you, alright? I mean, fuck, I've been beaten up by cops. I was wrongfully charged. I got charged one time for resisting arrest.
And were you? Or were you cooperating? Because if you were cooperating, then that's absolutely awful. But I find it difficult to believe from a sovereign citizen, the people that believe that the law means nothing and they're above it.
Y'all can eat a bag of dicks.
No thanks. I'm full.
But we don't stand up for our rights. Like, if you're not engaged in commerce, you are not driving.
So if I jump in my car now, which definitely has an engine, 4-wheel seats, a steering wheel, you know, a car, and go for a drive just because it's a lovely day, I'm not going to buy anything, I'm not going to sell anything, so no commerce involved. According to sovereign citizens, I'm not driving. So what exactly am I doing then?
That is the definition right there. That is the law. That is our rights. If you are not able to afford insurance, but you have a baby at home and your baby's just screaming and needs milk, and you don't have no money for insurance, but you got that $3 or $4 to put in your gas tank and then take your ass down to the store, you can travel to the store. No one's paying you to go to the store.
Oh my god, this guy is so stupid. But if you're going to the store to buy milk for your baby, that is the definition of commerce. You are traveling to buy something.
Are you serious?
And I can't wait to read the fucking dumbass comments. Dumb as fuck comments.
I think what he means is the comments that disagree with his ridiculous idea of what is right and wrong. Tidy!
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe. Oh, you waited for me.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. And today, as a returning celebration, I want to try something with you. Yeah, you. And if it is you, this is really going to resonate with you. But you must keep an open mind. Now I'm picking up the name of a loved one. It's an M or a J. Now this could be somebody who's still alive or somebody who's deceased. You could be with them now, or they could just be close by, maybe in another room. But it's an M or a J, and I really want you to concentrate and think about that person. I'm also picking up on something else, a red object. Now I don't know exactly what that object is, but they're showing me this red object. So the red object is something very important, so concentrate on that red object. Also, they're telling me about a picture that you may have moved recently or reframed or put to use in some other way. Now I'm also picking up on a shirt. Now this could be a shirt that you're wearing now, or maybe you thought about wearing it, and the shirt has either got a missing button or there's a button that's come loose. It's a favourite shirt of yours, or it could even be a shirt that this person wore that has a loose button and you recently found it and you were gonna wear it, or maybe you thought about wearing it. I'm also picking up that somewhere along the left leg there's a scar or something, a scar on the knee or the ankle or something with the left leg. Now they're also telling me about some sort of heirloom, a piece of jewellery that you're either wearing now or you maybe thought about wearing it or just have it with you. Maybe a ring or a watch or something along those lines that was passed on to you by this person who is an M or a J, living or deceased. 3. I'm picking up something about the number 3. Now I don't know whether that's the 3rd month or the 3rd of the month. It could be 3 siblings, but something about the number 3. Let me know in the comment section if I could have been talking directly to you. Tidy! Nobody can speak to the dead. They just can't, I'm afraid. Sorry to break your heart. Unless you want to be the one to prove me wrong, of course. All that was what psychics refer to as a cold reading. But before we talk about that, today's video is sponsored. So let me hand you over to Creaky in a hat, who'll tell you more. Are you an aspiring musician? Do you have an amazing talent that the world needs to hear? Well, you're going to love today's video sponsor, Neil Engel. Now, Neil is a long-time subscriber and wanted to support the channel by sponsoring an episode, so he has. I mean, he is. He did? Anywho, Neil is a producer, / engineer, / mixer, based out of Portland or USA. Weird. I always thought Portland was in the USA. Just a sec. Turns out that OR is short for Oregon. Neil's passion is the development of new artists, from singer-songwriters to melodic hardcore. Neil has worked with bands and artists like Issues, Dance Gavin Dance, Alice Anna, A Skylit Drive, Not My Weekend, and my personal favourite, and many more. But Creaky, I'm not from Portland or the USA. You can still work with Neil. He can mix tracks for you, as well as co-write, and offer you a ton more other services that don't involve you flying out to Oregon or the USA. Now, if you want to get in touch with Neil, all the links you're going to need are down in the video description. And as a special Creaky bonus, just for the Blinder gang, Neil is offering to mix one song completely free. And all you've got to do is mention that you saw this video. Creaky without a hat, who probably isn't sweating anywhere near as much as I am. Back to you. Tidy! So why is it that some people claim to be able to speak to the dead? What possible good can come from taking advantage of vulnerable, grieving people? I'm just saying. Now, the most frequently used technique that we would have seen a psychic medium use is called cold reading. Now, cold reading is a set of techniques used by mentalists, psychic mediums, tarot card readers to mine for information, basically. Now, an experienced cold reader without any prior knowledge analyzes a person's body language and the answers they give to these very, very general statements. For example, you will rarely, if ever, find a psychic medium who says the name Marian. They will always say it's an M or an M sound, which can apply to dozens of names. Now, M and J would work quite well on me because my parents' names are Marian and John. But out of everybody watching this video right now, how many of you can apply the letters M or J to someone you know who's either still alive or has passed away? I bet you it's going to be a lot of you. Now, generalising around names is one thing, but they may not always use a name. They may just use broad, sweeping statements, like, for example,
I'm getting the sense that you're the type of person who likes being liked or admired.
At times, you're prone to doubting whether you've made the right decisions or not in your life.
You can be excessively critical of yourself. You aren't a perfect person.
You have a lot of potential that's not been used to your advantage yet, and you're an independent thinker.
To a certain degree, you need some change in your life.
So who exactly is it who thinks they're perfect? And saying that you're the type of person who places great value on being liked? Is there anybody watching this now who enjoys being hated? And I would be willing to bet my left nut that every single person watching this now thinks they need to make some sort of change in their life. What I'm getting at is, have you ever come across a psychic medium who has given somebody a reading and said, when you go home, lift up the carpet in your house, count in 16 floorboards, pull that up, and you'll find £500,000 and a bag of diamonds? No, you've never heard that. And the reason you've never heard it is because cold reading is not a gift. It's an ability that can be learned, and it's been used by magicians and mentalists for centuries. So there's no magic. There is magic. It doesn't matter. It's just smoke and mirrors. It's not real. And the reason so-called psychic mediums use these techniques is because by using such broad statements, they can make you believe that they've got some sort of incredible insight to your life that they would only be able to get by speaking to somebody, either deceased or alive, usually deceased, that knows you personally and intimately. Now, most people that choose to go and see a psychic medium, whether it's at a show, an event, or whether it's a personal one-to-one reading, are there of their own free will. Nobody's forced them to be there, so they're already open to the idea that this person may or may not be able to communicate with their dead relatives. And the psychic mediums know this. Now, keeping all this in mind, all the psychic medium needs to do is start out by explaining that the messages they will receive are gonna be vague, and they might need your help to understand why they're so important. Almost as if they want you to fill in the blanks. And then as soon as you agree as the victim, sorry, I mean the client of the psychic medium, then they know they've got you. And going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, they'll generalize, so they'll never say, I'm getting a message from somebody called Clive. It'll always be, I'm getting a message and it's a letter C, or a name beginning with K, or a K sound. And then the victim, sorry, the client may go, oh, my dad's name was Colin, or Carl, or Clive, or Keith. And the psychic medium will immediately go, thank you. And if they don't get what they call a hit, they will just tell you, keep that thought in the back of your mind. It may become relevant later, which basically means, crap, I got it wrong this time. But no worries, the person's here anyway, let's carry on scamming them. But it all helps the psychic medium to know that you're susceptible to whatever nonsense they're going to tell you. Or another tactic they'll use to get out of making an error is, for example, if they say I'm getting a message and it's the letter C or the letter K or a K sound, and you can't confirm that that was your dad or your uncle or something like that, they will then go on to say something like, well, I'm getting the sense that it was your father or somebody who knew your father or somebody who is a father or who knows a father or who once said the word father. It's definitely a man. Do you know any men? But by the end of the session, the client has usually done most of the work because they're there and ready to believe, which is like taking your doctor seriously after he asks you to help him perform surgery. Now, on shows like Crossing Over, an audience watches somebody like John Edward, who was called by South Park the biggest douche in the universe, and they're probably not wrong, claim to be in contact with their dead relatives. Now, just the fact that these people are in the audience of a John Edward show tells him that they're already wide open to believe in anything he wants to tell them. And in absolutely no time at all, because John Edward knows these people are believers, he's able to convince some poor sucker from the audience that he's actually communicating with their dead relatives. It's so easy to pull off in front of the right audience. All you have to do is keep your statements as vague as possible and allow the audience to fill in the blanks and do most of the work for you. I'm getting another message coming through. I'm getting the name Bob or Ben. I'm seeing somebody. It's an older male relative. He had a heart condition. I think he died from a heart attack. Now, in a room full of people, let's be realistic, it's not going to be difficult to find somebody who knew an elderly gentleman with the name of Bob or Ben. And with heart disease being one of the most common causes of death, then winner winner, chicken dinner. Another sucker in the bag. And another thing I've noticed with psychic mediums, and this is really starting to boil my piss. Have you ever noticed how slowly they speak? I'm getting another message coming through. I'm getting a name. It starts with an Dave. It's my grandfather. Grandpa Dave. Yay me. I'm a psychic medium. Now, it's not because they've got a dodgy connection to the afterlife. They're not using like dial-up broadband or anything. They need to speak slowly because they're waiting for an audience member's reaction. They're waiting for that person who will shout out, Dave! My grandpa Dave! Because then they can continue on that path and manipulate the situation even further. Now, I could talk about this topic for hours because it really infuriates me. But don't worry, I'm not going to. At least not in this video. But if you would like to see me talking about psychic mediums and how they scam unsuspecting members of the public more, then I'll be more than happy to do so. Let me know down in the comments section.
And by the way, the Earth don't move. The Earth don't rotate.
What up?
What up indeed?
You're mentally ill if you don't eat raw meat, okay?
Okay.
What excuse could you possibly have?
Salmonella, E. coli, listeria, plus if it's raw, it's cold.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at SV3 the guy that ate the raw pig's head at the vegan festival. Yummy! So stick around. Tidy!
If you see blood, liver and brain and don't find those foods appetizing, then you're mentally ill.
Well, I don't consider myself to be mentally ill, but if only I had a nice bottle of Chianti and some fava beans laying around.
You have been indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated? How? I'm always so careful. I always wear a condom.
If you were brainwashed as a kid...
I like it. I see what you did there. Brainwashed.
...to eat other food, then you're still mentally ill, by definition.
No, I'm no psychologist, brain doctor. But if I was, I would know that the definition of mental illness is a condition which causes a serious disorder in a person's behaviour or thinking. But I can't find any mention of not liking a particular type of food being the definition of mental illness. But go on anyway.
What is actually available in nature? Not those cultivated man-made plants that you find in the shop.
You do realise that plants are grown in fields, in soil, which by definition is grown in nature.
Fruit, for example, is mostly water with some sugar, almost no vitamins.
What the hell are vitamins? I love people with stupid accents.
And a few minerals. Yet we see those shops everywhere that sell vitamin bombs.
Vitamin bombs.
What vitamins are those? Vitamin C? Where is everything else?
Well, I think you should count yourself lucky there's no vitamin W, because then you would be in trouble.
Blood has every single vitamin. Fruit has nothing. This is the of today's society. The skin is toxic, and so are the seeds. All of them have anti-nutrients.
Now this guy's getting so many things wrong and we're only at the 2 minutes and 30 seconds mark. I'm thinking of suggesting he changes his names to Ronnie Wronglington. Now, with all the health benefits found in fruit, because fruit is one of the most widely accepted healthy options, unless of course you're on a ketogenic diet where you're trying to avoid all forms of sugar, because he's right, fruit does have a lot of naturally occurring sugar or fructose in it. But the one thing they definitely do not contain is anti-nutrients, which are things like sodium, cholesterol, and saturated fats.
Modern food is not food, it's drugs.
Don't worry, it's just cheese.
People nowadays eat baked grain sludge, bread, with additives because of how horrible it tastes.
Bread is not horrible, you stupid man.
The only explanation is that you're an idiot or an addict, probably both.
Spooky, how did he know?
Raw meat doesn't have a bad taste at all. It hardly even has a taste compared to the drugs.
Well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one. See what I did there? Agree to disagree. The other channel I've started with Conspiracy Cats. But anyway, raw meat just tastes like hot ass. So I've heard.
If you find it disgusting or not appealing, then it's not because of the taste.
Well, no, obviously. It's because it's raw animal flesh. Now, I like my steak cooked medium rare, but if there's any danger that the piece of meat on my plate is gonna get up and try and run away, then I'm not interested.
If you find it disgusting, then it's because you have mental issues.
He's really banging on about mental issues for anyone that doesn't like eating raw meat, isn't he? Just cook it, like a normal person.
If you find the smell of raw meat disgusting, then you are drugged up. You have a toxic body which doesn't let you recognize natural food.
Well, no, I don't find the smell of raw meat disgusting. It's not the most pleasant thing to sniff by any means, but it smells so much nicer when it's cooked in a pan with some butter, some herbs, and a little bit of garlic.
If you find the appearance of raw meat disgusting, then you have been brainwashed by the media.
No, just no. Not everything in life has to be a conspiracy controlled by the government or the media. Some people just don't like looking at raw meat. Some people don't like looking at cooked meat.
It's literally the same as a tiger finding raw meat disgusting. It's a severe mental illness.
Well, seeing as the average tiger in the wild doesn't have access to kitchen facilities, it's not the same thing at all, is it? But you know what else is a severe mental illness? A grown man wearing a red tracksuit top stood in the woods telling people that it's cool and safe to eat raw meat whilst wearing a headband.
You gotta understand this. You are insane.
Yeah, I'm insane. It probably comes down to all those times I've stood in the middle of a deserted woods spouting nonsense into my camera. Oh, that's you, isn't it? Not me.
Okay. If you find the taste of raw meat disgusting, then it's toxicity again. Your taste buds have been altered. Raw meat will not give you over-the-top synthetic chemical tastes on your tongue.
I completely agree. As I said earlier on, it'll give you just the taste of ass. So I've heard.
Vegans will say to ex-vegans, oh, you had this and that, but veganism wasn't the cause of it. How can you get sick if veganism is the perfect diet for humans? That should be impossible, because every animal that eats its natural diet always feels amazing and is in perfect health.
Every animal feels amazing. It's a bit of a broad stroke, but there we go. I'm not going to dwell on that one too much. Now, I'm no doctor, but I am fairly certain that there is a lot more to a person's overall health than just the diet they choose to eat, whether it be plant-based or meat-based.
They will even admit and say that it's not a cure at all. That means that it's generally a shit diet, because raw meat is a cure for everything.
Wowzers, I had no idea that diets were so powerful. So a vegan diet is crap, doesn't cure anything, but a raw meat diet cures everything? Please elaborate.
If you drink blood, eat raw meat and raw animal fat, then you will cure every disease ever known.
Maze balls? Maybe somebody should tell the governments of the world who are frantically working on a vaccine for the old lag allergy. The solution's been there all along, we just didn't know where to look. Thanks, person with a funny name I can't say.
You cannot get sick by eating raw, healthy animals in any way. You will always heal.
Yes, you'll always heal. Unless, of course, the raw meat that you consume contains bacteria like E. coli, salmonella, listeria, all of which can cause severe food poisoning, and interestingly enough, are all killed off during the cooking process. Well, it turns out there may be something in this old cooking malarkey after all. Who'd have thought?
It's our natural diet. Natural always equals healthy.
Oh, please stop saying that natural doesn't always equal healthy. And it's not our natural diet and has not been our natural diet since fire was discovered by Homo erectus. Erectus. The earliest evidence of fire on Earth was actually 420 million years ago. That's a bloody long time. And the earliest evidence of man being able to control or start their own fires was 400,000 years ago. So I would venture a guess and say that we've been cooking our meat for at least 400,000 years. So how you think that eating raw meat now in 2020 could be considered to be natural when we've had the ability to cook meat for 400,000 years? Absolutely baffles me. Because the way I look at it, and call me old-fashioned, but if there are people stupid enough to make this type of content and upload it to the internet, there are clearly tens of thousands of people stupid enough to watch it. Damn, I watched it. And act on the information he's given. I wonder how many of his subscribers have actually succumbed to food poisoning or worse by following this absolute dickwad's advice. Because flat earthers are stupid. Yeah, I think we can all agree on that, but relatively harmless. But this guy, I mean, he's telling people to eat raw flesh. Should we have a look at the comment section? Jack Partington asks, why are you trying to manipulate people? And in fairness, that's a very good question, well asked. And Barada Nell says, I only eat yo mama, raw meat at its finest. And again, it seems that the comment section of this video is just flooded with really good questions. Because Mark James asks, if you're mentally ill, if you don't eat raw meat, what does that make people who don't eat meat? And my personal favourite comes from Rome Burns. And Rome Burns says, why can't people just be normal? Actually, he says, why can't people just be normal? But I'm not going to bring that up. It's a good comment.
Special Officer Goofy reporting.
Retards like me can pass.
2 people have made videos about me.
3 now.
Basically, they are, I guess, critiquing my videos.
Critiquing? Yeah, we can go with that if it makes you feel better about yourself.
And my ideas that I talk about in my videos, and a bunch of other things about me. They're all telling me about how, like, stupid I am. Like!
Saying like doesn't make you stupid. At some point, I'll probably ask everyone to like and subscribe to this video. But what does make you stupid is generally being stupid by believing that the earth is flat.
And because
Nothing worse than an awkward laugh to disguise the tears of flat earth. Indeed. Roll the intro. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Flat Art Friday, and today we're going to be looking at Corinne Souza. Corinne Souza. Souza. Purple hair girl. So let's explore what she's got to say for herself.
Oh yeah, one guy, the guy that made the first video about me, like, talked about how like how I look out the window, and or how I don't look at the camera, which, sorry, like.
Ooh, this is really awkward. She's doing that sort of laugh, you know, the kind of laugh that... yeah, that kind of laugh.
The point of me making this video is, all of you people coming and commenting random shit on my channel isn't proving anything.
I've got to be honest, the whole point of... I can't speak for the other people, obviously, but the whole point of me making a video isn't to prove anything. It's just a point and laugh.
And, you guys really aren't providing any fucking proof for the globe, and really aren't making yourselves look good, honestly.
See what I mean? Only a really stupid person would say that we haven't provided any proof for the globe when it's been demonstrably demonstrated. And as far as not looking good...
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that you guys aren't proving shit. If you guys are actually providing logical arguments and not just like shitting on me personally, then we would probably be getting somewhere. But no.
But this is the whole point. We don't need to prove anything. The burden of proof is on flat earthers. We have plenty of photographs of the globe, plenty of photos from space showing that it's a spherically shaped object. Flat earthers have nothing. Nothing at all. You don't have a single photograph. You don't have any experiments that can prove the earth is flat. You've got nothing.
Let's address some of these comments, shall we? I forget who made the fucking video about me. It was like Ragical something.
Ragical something. I think you'll find it's Ragical, the Unhallowed Knight.
Spiffy!
He watched my video about evolution, and a lot of people commented saying something like, if something doesn't make sense to you, it's not because it's not true. It's just because you lack knowledge. Because you lack a lot of knowledge. Replacing that lack with a lot of made-up bullshit doesn't make you look good. It actually makes you look stupid. Which, to that I would like to say, the reason why I don't believe in the theory of evolution is not because I don't understand it. I went to fucking school, believe it or not. I, like, graduated and have, like, a diploma, okay? I went through the same fucking bullshit that everybody else went through.
Well, like, oh my god, I find that so difficult to believe, like...
Oh my god, what am I doing?
And I learned about all this bullshit, and now I'm out here taking a step back and thinking, maybe there's a possibility that, oh, the world is out to get me. No, but maybe there's a possibility that everything that we fucking have been taught is all bullshit.
I bloody hate air quotes. Or maybe there's a possibility that you're just not that bright. Yeah, you may have finished school, but... Or is it just that you've watched one too many flat earth and conspiracy videos on YouTube?
Like...
Can you stop doing that?
Like, just because, like, you don't understand my fucking beliefs doesn't mean that they're fucking stupid, okay?
But that's exactly what it means. They are stupid. And you finished school, but you clearly didn't pay that much attention while you were there.
What was I saying though? Someone said, you hated school? That's no surprise given the level of ignorance you're professing on this video. Professing on this.
Considering the level of ignorance you're professing.
And the other delusional brain fart ramble fests you've uploaded to YouTube. Okay, first of all, I hated school, like sophomore and junior year, and then guess what? Oh, middle of junior year I realized, oh wait, this bullshit's actually really fucking easy. And then guess what? I graduated with fucking honor roll, and what the fucking, my GPA for senior year was like a 3.6 or something like that.
Tomato.
Nobody cares. And in fact, that makes it worse, because if you were a high-achieving student, what the hell has happened to you since you left school? Did you fall out of the stupid tree and hit every branch on the way down?
What does this prove? Retards like me can pass.
I'm saying nothing. But if the hat fits...
This person says that the Earth being a globe isn't a theory. It's an established, demonstratable, proven, objective fact. Well, fucking prove it. Prove it. You know what? Actually, there's a $10,000 baller challenge. You should go check out Eric Dubé's channel. He's gonna give away $10,000 to anybody that can prove the Earth is a fucking globe. So you should go check that out.
I did. And, actually... Hello? Eric Dubé? Yeah, Creaky Blinder. You owe me $10,000, mate. ISS footage.
The way that we came to existence is from the Big Bang, and that we fucking evolved from fucking monkeys.
Well, I did come from a big bang. I was born in the early 70s. There were a lot of power cuts in the early 70s, and my parents got bored one cold night. What can I say? And as far as evolving from monkeys, yeah. But clearly some of us haven't evolved as far. Have we?
Painful. Just like, painful. Just like, get the fuck off my channel and leave me the fuck alone. How the fuck does that sound, okay? The people that are watching my videos don't give a fuck about how I talk, okay? They give a fuck about what I'm talking about. They're not like sitting here like, oh, let me find every little thing wrong with this girl.
No, I think you find they leave that to people like me.
To the people that are saying stuff like, oh, you have to have this assumption that million peoples are in on the lie and blah blah blah. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Freemasonry and getting indoctrinated into secrecy? Look up the fucking Jesuit oath.
Freemasonry, indoctrination. Two very overused words among flat earthers. So you're trying to make us globies believe that every single person working in every single branch of government in every single country in the world and every single person employed by every single space agency in the world is a Freemason. And out of the millions of people that do those jobs, not one of them has ever slipped up. Ever.
Even a teeny tiny bit?
Get a grip.
It's really not that obscure of a concept. It's really not.
Obscure is not the word I would use to describe a conspiracy theory which you believe involves millions of people around the globe.
Basically, I just wanted to talk about that and just say that you guys aren't really proving shit by being assholes. You're not really proving anything. And if you would like to prove that the Earth is a globe, I seriously recommend you check out the $10,000 baller challenge, and you could win $1,000 by proving.
Now there's an offer I can't refuse. I'm going to tell the other guys. Group call. Radical. Team Skeptic, fight the flat Earth. Everyone, plan a walk, Simon Dan. You'll never guess what. Eric Dubé has got a challenge online. It's called the $10,000 challenge to anyone who can prove the Earth is a globe, and you win $1,000. What? No, I'm not stupid. That's what she said. It's a $10,000 challenge, and you can win $1,000. Oh, screw you guys. She did say that, didn't she? What the actual Hello everyone, welcome to another Creaky Blinder video, and the more observant among you will notice that it isn't a Flat Earth Friday video, and there's a pretty good reason for that. I've just had a guts full of flat earthers for the minute, so I thought I'd do this instead. Now, I dived down into the deepest, darkest depths of YouTube, and I came across Bob Larson. the real exorcist. Not just any exorcist, he's the real exorcist. So let's have a look at him.
Did they murder for a reason? Did they murder for a god? Say this spirit of murder has to leave me. What do you say? What do you say? Mockery.
In just 1 hour, you too can have the life you've always wanted. Bob Larson will help you overcome the obstacles holding back your spiritual destiny. Stop the cycles of failure, poverty and sickness. Break family curses at the root. Discover the causes of destructive habits and addictions. Get rid of demons. Uncover hindering issues. No pastor, priest or counsellor has dealt with more spiritually bound people and set them free. And I'm sure he does all this completely free of charge. Because can you imagine a religious man trying to profit off something that just isn't real?
No, absolutely not.
What's your first name?
Mike.
How old are you?
45.
You been married?
Yeah.
Divorced?
Yep.
You're a Christian?
Yeah.
You know the Lord?
Yeah.
Is this an exorcism or an interrogation? And why the hell is he standing so close to him? He's practically rubbing himself against the bloke's thigh like a randy dog.
As sword of the spirit, I divide soul and spirit. I divide Mike from you. Get over here!
Okay, I'm here. What?
Who are you? You been giving him those nightmares?
My weirdometer's going off the charts.
Let's see if I put the sword through the spirit of murder and see what he does.
This is getting good. Snacks?
I want Mike saying in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
I want this spirit of murder gone.
I want this spirit of murder gone.
The spirit in the name of Jesus.
No, I don't mean to mock somebody. But Mike here clearly isn't the sharpest knife in the kitchen drawer, is he?
Whatever my ancestors did.
Whatever my ancestors did.
Whatever blood they spilled.
Whatever blood they spilled.
I cancel it by the blood of Christ.
Cancel it by the blood of Christ.
What a load of old shite. Even Mike can't keep a straight face. And he's the one being exercised. If that's the word.
How many generations?
Now I can't work out whether Mike is completely nuts or whether he's just playing along for the giggle. Well, I suppose that answers that question then.
They just murdered. They just murdered, huh? Go down! I command you to go down in the name of Jesus. Mike, come on. Come on, man, fight back. Fight back.
Dissociative identity disorder is a real thing. It's a real mental illness. Multiple personality disorder, whatever you choose to call it. It's real. It's something that exists. And I can't shake the feeling that Mike here is in on it somehow. Because demonic possession, I'm gonna call shit on this one, I think.
Good man. Say, I command this spirit of murder to leave me.
I command this spirit of murder to leave me.
He doesn't have any right to be here.
He has any right to be here.
The blood of my ancestors.
The blood of my ancestors.
I really don't understand why he keeps laughing. He's not going to find it so funny at the end of the 1 hour session when he gets his bill. And when I was researching this topic, I watched quite a few exorcism videos on YouTube, and I didn't see anything in any of them that made me believe it was real, because I really can't see how it can be. It's just supernatural mumbo jumbo.
What do you mean it's not real? Of course it's real. Everything on YouTube is real, right?
Has been forgiven.
Has been
Forgiven. Mike, learn to use your words.
You're not gonna laugh in hell, murder.
Smart.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna take a threefold chord from Ecclesiastes 4:12 and gonna bind them all to you, murder. So there. We're all bound to you.
Just so I understand this fully, the key to this whole exorcism malarkey is to wave a Bible around above his head and then smash him on the top of the head with it. Now, by
the authority of Christ, on the basis of your word, light it. I'm gonna take that sword. I was gonna put it through you one more time for good measure.
I'm a little bit confused. What is he sticking, and where is he sticking it? Because it looks suspiciously to me like...
Oh, hello. What's going on here then?
Quite possibly. Now, I'm no expert, but is that the sound somebody makes once they receive the bum thumb?
Say, I murder. I murder. With all my kingdom.
All my kingdom.
Go.
Go.
Now.
Now.
Two. The pit. Come on.
Get out. Out.
Yeah, now we're talking. We've got a bit of crowd participation starting. Out! 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 Out!
Get out.
Holy hell, what's happening now? Oh no, they've got him bent over. He's gonna get the bum thumb again now. I can feel it.
I can anoint you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, with the peace of God, the presence of Christ, the comfort of the Holy Spirit, and the filling of every part of you with this evil of murder was. In Jesus' name.
Sounding a bit short of breath there, Bob. I'll give you 5 minutes to recover. I'm just going to head over to your comment section and have a look what you viewers have got to say about this nonsense. Okay, over to the comment section we go. Wait, what? What? No comment? Yeah, I get that actually. And I do get it, but something doesn't quite add up for me. 535,000 views, 4.1 thousand likes, 1.1 thousand dislikes, no comments.
What?
Let's give thanks to the Lord again.
Okay, one creaky comment coming up. What a... I'm just trying to help. There's nothing worse than uploading a video to YouTube and then not getting any comments. I'm doing a good thing.
Who did this for you?
Jesus Christ.
Who's the boy belong to?
Jesus.
Who's got the power to set you free?
Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. I wish more case about whether or not Christians can have demons.
Exorcism. Really? Now, I don't know what you think, but you can tell me down in the comment section. I don't know who's worse, Bob Larson or Kenneth Copeland, because it seems to me that they're both using people's religious beliefs and vulnerabilities to extort money from them. Now, I know it doesn't say anywhere in this video that Bob Larson charges for his service, but do you know anybody that does anything for free?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know what I was talking about.
No, I have no clue.
The floater.
Hello there. So what I want to talk about today are some of the pictures that we get from agencies such as NASA, these so-called space agencies.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. Now, the title of this video is Flat Earth Parrot, and the reason I've called it Flat Earth Parrot is because I found a brand new flat earther who is just repeating exactly the same as every other flat earther I cover, therefore making me feel like a parrot. I know how you feel, but I don't know why you're laughing, because you've got to sit through this with me as well. So let's have a look to see what she's got to say.
So the first thing to realize is that when you look at these images that are of supposed planetary bodies, sometimes NASA will go ahead and admit this is an artistic rendition, and you'll see a tiny little byline at the bottom that says it's an artistic rendition and even the name of the artist.
Now, she's probably talking about Robert Simon, the Blue Marble guy, who famously said it's photoshopped because it has to be. But as I've said in plenty of other videos, he doesn't mean it in the way flat earthers interpret it. Now, Robert Simon, is it Simon or Simon? Is a senior programs analyst for NASA, and he's the lead data visualizer and information designer. So what he does, he takes the data that's sent from space missions, photographs, and he makes them into a readable photograph for us. Because if you think about it in its simplest terms, how could you possibly take a photo of a sphere from all angles at the same time using one camera? It's pretty simple, really. You couldn't. And the irony in all this is that the shot I just showed on the screen is the famous Blue Marble shot. We've all seen it, it's in the public domain, it's free for anyone to use, it's on the iPhone, it's on t-shirts, it's everywhere. It's the most famous picture of the Earth taken in a single shot. Flat Earthers bang on about how this photo is fake, and yet the only photos you can find of the flat Earth are 100% CGI, because there is no way of getting a photo of something that doesn't exist.
However, some of them they claim are actual photographs. So when we're discussing the Earth, there's only two that I know of that they even claim are real. So that might be surprising to you.
It is surprising to me. And claiming they're real is irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with anything. What they say is that these are photographs of the Earth complete, as you would see it if you were standing at that distance away from the Earth.
For example, if you look up Mr. Blue Marble, his name is Robert Simon, and right on the official NASA.gov website, Mr. Robert Simon will explain to you why it took him 4 months to take a flat map, wrap it around the globe to meet people's expectations of what the Earth should look like.
But it didn't take him 4 months to... Why am I even bothering? Yes, the Blue Marble image did take 4 months to render, but it was because it was rendered from a series of photos taken from around the globe. So he didn't use a flat map at all.
So does that surprise you? It sure did surprise me when I first heard that, because you hear about all this technology they have. They can take pictures of this, that, the other thing, but it takes them 4 months to come up with a picture of Earth that they even admit isn't actually Earth, it's just what you think Earth does look like, right?
Now, I can't even begin to explain just how stupid that statement is. Hold a ball in your hand, take your phone, and try and take a photo of that ball all the way around without moving your camera. There's no amount of technology that can make that happen. And saying that he took a flat map and turned it into the globe just shows the level of ignorance that flat earthers have.
So anyway, the point is there's a lot of questionable stuff going on there, and some of it they just come right out and admit. But some of them they claim are actual photos, such as the one they claim was taken in 1972 by the Apollo 17 mission that they claim went to the moon.
Well, that explains a lot. She's a moon landing denier as well. And the Apollo 17 picture from 1972 was taken in December when I was 1 month old. Oh, I was a little baby. Israel. What evidence do flat earthers have that proves that that picture isn't real? Because let's not forget, all flat earthers have is assumptions and conjecture. Evidence is something that remains elusive to every single person that believes the earth is flat.
So, let's look at a few of the problems here. We talked about this book in another video, The Greatest Lie on Earth.
Ooh, well, at least she hasn't pulled out a Bible, I suppose. Instead, she's pulled out The Greatest Lie on Earth, proof that our world is not a moving globe. The book reveals the mother of all conspiracies. It sets forth biblical proof. Biblical proof.
Proof that our world is not a moving globe, by Edward Hendry.
Well, the problem with books like this and the Bible offering proof of the shape of the earth is that neither of them are scientifically based.
So, when you're reading this book, you get to page 213. That's where you see a picture. And guess what? Okay, couple things. One, this is just one reason that there's a problem with the Apollo 17 picture. There's other ones. So, maybe we'll get into those another time, or you can read about them. And that's only one of the pictures, one of the problems. We're trying to get very minute in detail here to focus, but just know this isn't the end of the story, is it? So hopefully we'll keep asking questions and finding out more.
Now, a group of people, in this instance, flat earthers, choosing to not believe something does not necessarily mean that there are problems with that thing. It just simply comes down to willful ignorance. Collectively, they choose not to believe something because believing that thing would weaken their useless, childish, pathetic argument. Because a belief in the flat earth is no different, and if there's any kids in the room, they may want to leave now, is no different from trying to prove that Santa Claus is real.
Okay, so if you look at this picture, so the important thing is that they tell us when the picture was taken. They say it was taken 10:38 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So, 10:38 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, England, right? So, the problem is, so you see this circle, that represents what is lit up in this Apollo 17 picture. But then, the arched line represents what we know in reality would be lit up at that time in our world. So we've got, England, 10:38 a.m., definitely in the light. Helsinki, in the light. Russia, in the light. Santiago, in the light. All of these other towns here should have been lit up and shown on this picture, allegedly, of the globe, although the globe is just a model, right? So all of this is fairy tale, right? We're only discussing this to show how even the story they come up with doesn't match their story about how the sun functions and the light on Earth.
Conjecture. Let's assume for a second that the scale is right on this picture in this proof book. All you're showing is a picture of a flat disc sat on a flat map, which doesn't exist. So what does it really prove?
Okay, so that's the inconsistency we're seeing here. The important thing to think about that is because I talked about this with Globe Fantasy fanatics on the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0 that I'm a part of.
Globe Earth Fantasy fanatics? I think she means people like us. No, you definitely shouldn't go to that Discord server. Absolutely not.
but it's kind of difficult to explain just using your voice. So I brought an explanation, a model for you, and you can do this yourself. So the orange here in my model is representing what they claim the shape of the Earth is.
Well, I've never heard anyone claim that the Earth is shaped like an orange, but I suppose it is a sphere, so go on.
A sphere. Ish. It's, you know, an orange, so it's not perfect, but you can get the idea. Then this flashlight will represent the sun. When we light up a sphere, there's something called a terminator. So, and the terminator is defined as a circle with a diameter that is approximately that of Earth. So, diameter is a line that goes through the center. So, there's telling you right there, the center, the half, the middle.
What, so now you can't have half a sphere? A hemisphere, maybe?
So, a terminator is going to light up half of the sphere. So, you know, if we shine this light on our orange like we do here, you know, you can see where the light is separated from the shadow. So, I bring this up only because
it's a really good proof of the shape of the Earth, and you want to help us out?
Some of the Globe fantasy clingers, you know, those bitter clingers that cling to the fantasy that we live on a globe, they will claim, you know, that's those areas that I showed you in the arch. Oh, they were like, kind of like, you know, the sun was rising there or whatever.
Well, no, I probably wouldn't claim that. What I would claim is, as I stated earlier on in this video, is how do you know that the scale shown on that page was correct?
You don't.
And you've got no way of verifying it, like every other single piece of so-called flat earth proof that you think you have.
So there's like a, you know, iffy area. No, there's not. I mean, yeah, the sun, you know, for a short time, yeah, there's a rising going on there, but not that vast area, which would have been over here.
Again, this all comes down to scale, or your lack of understanding of scale, I should say.
You saw the large area that should have been in darkness and was not. So that's another thing to just talk about in general is, you know, these bitter clingers to the globe theory. They are some of them, the ones that have been around for years especially, they have an answer for everything.
Well, that is truly bizarre. Isn't it funny how people who actually understand that our Earth is spherical in shape have got an answer for everything? And all our answers are scientifically based and based on provable, repeatable, observable evidence. It only ever seems to be flat earthers that find it difficult to answer questions about the shape of the Earth. Because shouting, "Nuh-uh," isn't an answer.
But just because somebody has an answer that they can come up with real quick doesn't mean they're telling you the truth.